दोस्तों को भी पढ़ना है,
ये शेयर करें।
कब?
बस इसी सेशन में।
भाई को बुला लिया भाई।
अरे आप बैठिए ना भाई, आपका कल शेयर था, आप शेयर करते वक्त बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगी,
ज्यादा हो जाएगी,
बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगी।
हेलो, मेरी आवाज आ रही है प्लीज? सर आपकी, प्रोफेसर गंगाधर जी आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही, आप जरा देखिए म्यूट किया हो आपने।
Now am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, now you are audible. Okay,
Am I audible?
Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, you are audible now.
Thank you.
Okay, it's okay.
just
When it will begin?
सर आप इजाजत देते हैं सर, बस शुरू करते हैं, 10 बजे का टाइम है, आप इजाजत दीजिए। यू विल बी चेयर दिस सेशन, you will chair this session sir. Now if you permit, then we will start.
Okay, you can start anytime now.
Okay sir,
I'm sitting.
Okay sir, with due permission now I'm starting for today's session. You all are welcome. The title, the theme of this session is a dialogue in action for justice and protection of human rights. In this session the papers are of Professor D.A. Gangadhar chair करेंगे इस सेशन को. Moderator Professor Abdul Wani है, he will join soon. Speakers में Dr. Nazir Ahmed Zargar हैं, Assistant Professor, Department of Religious Studies, Central University of Kashmir. और उसके बाद डॉक्टर जावेद नदीम नदवी हैं, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ अरबिक, मानू हैदराबाद से. फिर उसके बाद में डॉक्टर हसन शरीफ, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर एंड हेड पीजी डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इस्लामिक स्टडीज, इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ एडवांस स्टडीज में ये. तो चलो उसके बाद में आयमन नजीर है, आयमन नजीर पीएचडी स्कॉलर.
Excuse me, your voice is inaudible.
Who is to speak?
Nadeem Nadavi, Department of Arabic, Mano, Hyderabad, and his topic is Islam in Multi-Faith Society, Adherence with the Rights and Respect. Dr. Javed Nadeem.
I really feel privileged to present paper this August topic, Islam in a multi-faith society, adherence with rights and respect. Dear audience, it is pertinent to know that Islam is a religion that teaches mercy and forgiveness as well as justice and rights. The Holy Quran starts, that means praise be to Allah has introduced the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as being rahmatan lil alameen, a mercy for all creatures. And even Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, urged his followers, saying, "Irham ala man fil ard, yarham alayka man fis sama." Or irhamu, perhaps there is another tradition, irhamu man fil ard, yarhamkum man fis sama. That means be kind to those who are on the earth. That includes entire humanity and entire creatures of the world. Be kind to those who are on the earth, thus the one in the heaven will be kind to you. This is the teaching of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam towards the followers. And in order to come to the point of the paper, I must draw your attention towards analyzing the behavior of the Prophet ﷺ in his practical way. At the outset, I would like to narrate here the event of the attempt on the life of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. the tradition says that Hazrat Jabir Razillahu anhu once on the way back from a war zone in the region of Najd, that is a place in central Arabia, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam landed a valley full of kikar trees and he took shelter under a tree. In the meantime, a Bedouin, namely Ghawwas ibn al-Haris, appeared and waved a sword over the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, asking, "Who will save you from me?" This Bedouin was willing to kill the Prophet. The Prophet said, "Allah." A shiver ran through the body of the Bedouin that time, and the sword fell down. Now the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam picked up the sword and asked the Bedouin, "Who will save you now?" The Bedouin pleaded for the lease of his life. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam pardoned him. This tradition is derived from Bukhari and Muslim. The point is that this Bedouin was bent upon killing the Prophet, but the Prophet pardoned him despite danger to his life. On another occasion, when the followers of the Prophet were in Hudaybiyah, Sulh Hudaybiyah is a known event in Islam. So on that occasion, the Prophet ﷺ was offering Fajr prayer, morning prayer with his followers. All of a sudden, around 70 or 80 people came down from a hill that is known as Tan'im. That hill is known as Tan'im. From that hill, these 70 or 80 people came down to kill the Muslims in the state of their worship, prayer. All the assailants were caught right in time, as the followers and the disciples of the Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam were aware. The Prophet set them, all these 70 and 80 people, the Prophet set them free without any punishment, without any compensation. So this was the behavior of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam with the enemies, with the assailants. Let's see another event when a person was chasing the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to kill him on the occasion of his migration from Makkah to Medina. A person is known as Suraka ibn Malik ibn Jasam. He was having some link with the idolaters in Makkah, and they offered some money for Suraka if he kills the Prophet. Suraka moved to kill the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When Suraka saw the Prophet on his way, he was quite confident that he will be successful in his mission to kill the Prophet. But when he came close to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made a dua, invocation, "Oh Lord, save me, save us from this evil." In the meantime, the legs of the mare of Suraka, who was the assailant, who was willing to kill the Prophet, the legs of that mare sunk in the earth, and Suraka fell down. In the meantime, Suraka felt that he cannot be successful to kill the Prophet, and he pleaded for his life. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam pardoned him also. And Suraka said that, "I shall stop all the people who are on the way to kill you." Saying this, he was about to turn. The Prophet by that time passed a prediction, said, "Suraka, what would be your pomp when you would be made to put on the royal bangles of Kisra?" Kisra is a royal title of the emperors of Iran by that time. So it is that the Prophet not only pardoned Suraka, rather he gave prediction that he will be awarded with the bangles, royal bangles of Kisra. Again, I would like to bring here an event, the Prophet's behavior on the war front. Perhaps all of you will be aware of the fact of the Battle of Ahzab. This was a very tough battle for the Muslims, as the Muslims were quite surrounded from all sides, and the Jews of Medina had a tie-up with all Arab tribes to attack Medina to kill the Muslims. So by that time, Muslims dug trenches around Medina, and that event is known as Ahzab. The Jews came from all sides. Finally, it happened that the Jews could not be successful in their mission, and after 20 days, they were forced by destroyed, nor its premises or boundaries will be ruined, nor it will be brought down, nor the cross or their wealth will be reduced. They will not be forced on the issue of religion, nor would they be harmed. I mean, there will be no force to convert to Islam. Whosoever likes to follow his own religion, he will be quite, freely allowed. And that was the treaty given by the Amir al-Mu'minin. Now, Jew will stay along with them in Elia also. It is imperative upon the people of Elia that they pay jizya. That jizya is a protection tax, protection money. Like Muslims pay zakat, non-Muslims pay jizya. Like people of other cities, and expel the Greeks. All the Greeks who abandon the city, their life and wealth will remain under safety cover until they reach their place of their shelter or the place of their liking. If anyone wants to stay in Elia itself, he will be allowed to do, yet he must pay the jizya. Out of the people of Elia, whosoever wants to live along with his wealth in the company of the Greeks, they are allowed. I mean, total freedom was given. Whosoever wants to stay in Palestine, he is allowed. Whosoever wants to migrate or go somewhere, somewhere of his choice, he can leave. And as long as he will be within the territory of Muslims, his money, his wealth, his life will be safe until he reaches the destination. Similarly, I would like to draw your attention towards Muhammad ibn Qasim, who came in India, and we know well about his behavior in the Western frontier, how he behaved with the local peoples, and the local peoples were with Muhammad ibn Qasim. They joined his army. They were very much frustrated when Muhammad ibn Qasim was said to leave the country and back to his homeland. So this says Ishwari Prasad, a historian from Allahabad University. He has written his book, A Short Story of Medieval India. In that particular book, he has narrated the event that how the local people came in the fold of Muslim army, and they got allied with the Muslims and helped in marching towards other parts of India. Again, I would like to draw your attention towards the Muslims when they entered Spain. Spain is also a very famous place.
Dr. Nazvi Saab, please conclude. Your time is already over.
Okay. Thank you very much. So with this presentation, I intended to draw the behavior of Muslims against the challenges to them from various sides, from Arabs, from non-Arabs, from people of India, and how they respected their rights and how they they brought them in the fold of administration. With these words, I sum up my presentation, and the entire paper will be brought to you through the publication that will be done by IOS, inshallah. Thank you very much for lending good hearing to this paper. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nadvi. I just want to inform all the paper readers that they have 7 minutes, and they can be given 2 minutes more to complete. And we can have some time for the discussion also. That's very important. We also need to know that we have a very renowned scholar and professor of philosophy and Indian thought and culture, Professor Gangadharji, who is presiding over this session. So his presence makes a lot of, it has a lot of meaning for us. And let us just try to stick to the time schedule which has been given to us and try to complete our papers within the stipulated time. Now, after this paper, I would like to ask Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar Saab, Assistant Professor, Department of Religious Studies, Central University of Kashmir, to present his paper. The topic is the Sharia and its objectives Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar is a senior assistant professor of Central University Kashmir. He has written several books on Islam, media, and social justice. Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar. Are you present, Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar, sir? So please start your paper. Please unmute your mic first. डॉक्टर नजीर साहब आपने अपना माइक म्यूट किया है, आप जरा अनम्यूट कर लीजिए। मैंने किया था नजीर अहमद ने, ये उन्होंने किया है। उधर से ही होगा, उधर से ही है, उधर से ही है। हाँ नहीं वहीं से है, वहीं से ही है। डॉक्टर साहब आपने अपना अनम्यूट कर लीजिए। डॉक्टर नजीर साहब आप अनम्यूट कीजिए माइक और अपना पेपर प्रेजेंट कीजिए। आवाज आ रही है डॉक्टर साहब? डॉक्टर नजीर साहब नहीं ऑल नहीं है। नहीं सर वो उधर से हो जाएगा, उनका अपना है प्रॉब्लम। डॉक्टर नजीर अहमद जरगर साहब, डू यू लिसन मी? चलिए फिर जब तक डॉक्टर नजीर अहमद जरगर साहब अपना माइक जो है अनम्यूट करेंगे तब तक हम डॉक्टर हसन शरीफ साहब को दावत दे रहे हैं कि वो अपना पेपर पेश करें। वी आर रिक्वेस्टिंग डॉक्टर हसन शरीफ, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर एंड हेड पीजी डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इस्लामिक स्टडीज, Safi Institute of Advanced Studies. His topic is Peaceful Coexistence in Indian Subcontinent, Lessons from Medina Charter of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Dr. Hassan Sharif Sahab, please.
Thank you, Rufiabad sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Please, go ahead.
Respected chair and distinguished guests and scholars, organizers of the two-day national seminar, and teachers and students of Department of Religious Studies, Punjabi University, Patiala, and scholars from Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi, and beloved audience, peace be upon you all. Now we are really enjoy the time we spent together this morning to listen valuable ideas on dialogue in action for justice and protection of human rights. Here, I'm going to share with you gist of my paper on the theme Peaceful Coexistence in Indian Subcontinent. Lessons from Medina Charter of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Countries like India have a rich heritage of social divergences, cultural peculiarities, and religious diversities, which mark the land unique from other nations of the world. In fact, the foundation stone of this unique culture is the positive influence of the concept of unity in diversity. At the present time, the world significantly discusses on the wonders of peace and pluralism. And people praises those nations which successfully practice pluralistic concepts and preserve multicultural ideologies in their country. And interestingly, the present academic world has been analyzing the impact of pluralism in multi-religious communities. As we know that peace, the outcome of pluralism, is the prime focus of all visionary nations of the world. We know that peace creates pathways to successful opportunities. It widely opens door to the horizons of social development and cultural progress. Pluralism has an active role in establishing and maintaining peace and harmony. It nurtures the granary of the land of peace of humanity and defends the webs of violence and communalism. Pluralism is a human culture of mutual non-interference by understanding others beyond the differences of and diversities of gender, color, race, religion, etc. It promotes value of considering others' feelings and giving their rights and privileges. It also creates a platform of positive thinking on other communities and societies within the country. Moreover, it inculcates human values and ethics in multi-religious societies. According to Mark Silk, pluralism, I mean the religious pluralism, it enables a country made up of people of different faiths to exist without sectarian welfare or the persecution of religious minorities. Dear all, we have a number of examples from history which gives a clear picture on major facts led to the peaceful coexistence in multicultural society. Let me talk on my topic, that is a Medina Charter. How can we implement pluralism in a multi-religious society? So let me try to answer to the question by highlighting major facts of Medina Charter of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. We know that the Medina Charter, let me give a background on the charter. That is, after the migration of Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina in 622 AD, he has done a remarkable work, which is known as one of the early attempts for a written constitution. He issued the historic document and implemented successfully in a land where the half of the population comprised different Jewish tribes and non-Muslims clans. This is one of the notable thing that he implemented the charter, confirming the major principles of mutual and unity.
Dr. Hassan Sharif, your voice is not too clear. And have you muted yourself? Please see what's the problem. You are not audible. Dr. Hassan Sharif, you are not audible.
It is still.
Yeah, it is still, yeah. No voice is coming.
It is still nothing left.
Yeah. You see what's the problem. We can fix it. Am I audible to you, Dr. Hassan?
फोन नंबर नहीं है, इसका मोबाइल नंबर है।
So to get him back, so I may request another speaker because of the paucity of time. Maybe take some time. If Hassan Sharif, am I audible to you?
Sir, sorry, I think there's
Please,
an interruption.
present.
Okay.
sir.
Okay, let me continue. Okay, and the second point is
Again, problem. मेरे ख्याल में till you are able to resume your connection, I will just invite.
Problem, he was going to say some concluding things.
Yeah. So, but no. Okay, now we can have you again. So let me request Miss Ayman Nazir, PhD scholar, Department of Religious Studies, Central University of Kashmir, to present her paper. Her topic is Rights of Religious Minorities in India through a constitutional perspective. Miss Ayman Nazir from Central University of Kashmir. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible?
audible, you are audible.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So I'm Ayman Nazir from the Department of Religious Studies, Central University of Kashmir, and my topic is rights of religious minorities in India through a constitutional perspective. Excuse me.
You go ahead.
Excuse me. There is some. Excuse me. There is some.
Sorry,
So,
let me conclude.
Dr. Sharif, you will be just later. I will just, because now we have started on the paper. Inshallah, after her, you will present your final concluding remarks. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so my topic is rights of religious minorities in India through a constitutional perspective. So, India is known for its multicultural and pluralistic ethos for its. Despite the vast social and cultural diversity, India has a variety of ethnic identities, and the beauty and strength of this civilization has been its ability to accommodate different religious and cultural diversities. In India, the Hinduism forms a major religion, whereas Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, Christianity, and Islam remains in minority. The rights of minorities have so much been illustrated that India has been considered as a confederation of minorities. It represents a unique civilizational context derived from different sources and experiences. But the question arises, if India has so much cultural diversity and if India has so much civilizational context, then why there arises a need for minority rights? So, although India being the most secular and pluralistic nation in the world, even in the absence of any prejudice and hostility from any dominant majority, the small minority groups would face prejudice and neglection and marginalization. And the first case is the cultural diversity. The cultural diversity in itself is the great issue, since in pluralistic nations, the different cultures and their accommodation remains a most wider process and the most complex process. The partition of India in 1947 was made on the religious grounds. Since after the partition of India, it was a necessity to ensure the protection of every religious community under the frame of Indian constitution. So, in the view of interest of all religious faiths, there was a need to ensure the minority rights. So, the steps taken by the government in their constitutional provisions regarding the minorities include the Articles 14, 15, 16, 21, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. And all these deal with the different liberty for the religion of their freedom, for equality before law, for their freedom of consciousness, and every citizen is equal before religion to practice their religion freely. Apart from these articles, the Constitution of India has made several sections under the Indian Penal Code for the protection of minority rights, including the Section 153A, Section 295A, Section 296. And all these sections deal with the protection of minority rights, and any violation for the minority rights would be severely punished. And apart from this, the National Commission for Minorities Act in 1922, it was set up for the evaluation and the progress of minorities for the protection of their rights, for handling the cases of the discrimination, making recommendation for effective implementation, handling complaints, and as well as giving the annual reports and all the special reports regarding the Minority Commission. Now, apart from these, various initiatives have been taken by the Government of India to ensure the minority right. It includes the Prime Minister's new 15-point program for the welfare of minorities, Hamari Darohar, Nayi Roshni, Nayi Manzil. And all these initiatives, they deal with the education of the religious minorities. They enhance opportunities for education. They curate the rich heritage of minorities for the preservation of their literature, for the promotion of calligraphy, and most importantly, for the religious empowerment of the women rights, as well as they drive a market driven skills to target the minority youth. But the question is how far we have been able to ensure the minority rights. Although, as already defined, it, that the minority rights have so much been defined, but still the question of minority rights has always been has always been there. Irrespective of all the laws, minorities are not in a position to propagate and practice their religion freely, which have led them to the extent of marginalization. The most important question is the what actually the minority is. In the section Article 30 of Indian Constitution, it defines the two specific categories of minorities, either linguistic minority or religious minority. But nowhere it has defined what act the term minority means. Secondly, apart from this, it's the anti-conversion law. Anti-conversion law, it sometimes feels, is it a freedom of religion or the violation of secularism? Anti-conversion laws were present in India since before the partition of India, but after the partition of India, the case seems to be different. Any the no, the minorities feel that any non-Hindu who wants to convert into Hinduism, they will be easily reconverted. But if they want to convert into any other religion, they will be severely punished. In addition, if the Guardianship Act 1956, it also says that the guardian of any non-Hindu who wants to convert into any other religion, they will be severely punished. Secondly, the assimilation of all other Aryan religions, including Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism, into Hinduism. The all other religions, they are to be assimilated into the Hinduism, which led to the loss of their individuality and leading to the violence of the religious freedom. Now the question arises: how can we fill the gap? And to bridge the gap, there the first thing is the mutual understanding, tolerance, and the respect for other religions. We need to get rid of all the religious prejudices and stereotypes, find the accurate information and understanding, and approach each other with mutual accept, and the most important thing, willingness. And in this process, the most important thing that can serve is the interfaith dialogue. Interfaith dialogue can serve as the most essential, cooperative, and a constructive way to target the negative stereotypes about the different religious and to bring them to the common terms. Thus, the characteristic feature of Indian society is a multicultural diversity in terms of this religion. Although India has been a multicultural country for a very long time, and aside from the obvious and promoting presence of Muslim, it has been a home to various other religious communities, including the Christians from at least 4th century, Jews after the fall of Jerusalem, Parsis from the 7th century, and Sikhism since the time of Guru Nanak. And also before the Muslims came in India, it has been a Hindu dominant state, and before the Hindus, it had been a Buddhism dominant state. Thus, and also the Jainism. Thus, it shares a long history of equality among the religions, and in fact, a large continuing presence. And this is a spirit of the civilization we need to carry ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayman. You were to the point, and also you just tried to preserve the restrictions of time. That is very important. We may have some discussion later on after all the papers have been presented. So the people who want to ask questions, they can just keep their questions ready. After the papers are presented, then they can ask the questions. So now, after Ms. Ayman, I would like to ask Mr. Hassan Sharif first to complete his paper. Then we can go ahead. Dr. Hassan Sharif.
Sir, is it okay? Okay, let me conclude my paper. That is, we can see that India is past in maintaining harmony in the subcontinent. The land has accommodated different religions, faith, and its space atmosphere of religion. Same time, all religions have contributed love, tolerance, and unfortunately, they are getting on rural.
Your voice is not very clear. Dr. Sharif, you may.
Okay. Okay, we can continue with this.
There's some
I'm-
problem with your voice is breaking. Voice is breaking.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Please,
then I think so. You have completed almost whatever you wanted to say.
Yes,
If you want,
yes.
yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I request to Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar Sahab to present his paper. Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar is a senior assistant professor, Central University of Kashmir, Department of Religious Studies, and he has written several books. So he'll be writing his paper on justice. Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar. Dr. Nazir, are you there? But he's not responding. No? Dr. Nazir, are you there? Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar sir? Hello? Till Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar Sahab is able to present his paper, I request Mr. Javed Ahmad Mir and Professor Jian Khaki. They have written a joint paper. Mr. Javed Ahmad Mir is a research scholar at the Central Asian Studies, University of Kashmir. And Professor Jian Khaki Sahab is the senior professor and director, Sheikhul Alam Chair, Kashmir University. The topic of the both scholars is Dara Shukla and his model of Hindu-Muslim inter-religious understanding and assessment. And now maybe Dr. Khaki Sahab is presenting or Javed Sahab, so whosoever, so I request you to present your paper. Welcome, sir. Are you there, Mr. Javed Ahmad Mir? Okay, so I think that perhaps they are not, Mr. Javed is not there. Now I request Dr. Afroz Ahmad Bisati Sahab, who is the Associate Professor, Department of Islamic Studies, Islamic University of Science and Technology, Autipura, Kashmir. And he has written many books on Sufism, Sheikh Ahmad Sarindi, and Islamic Studies, and other such topics. And he is a senior academician and he has visited many places to present his academic papers. So today his topic is the contours of religious coexistence and cooperation in Islam. Dr. Afroz Ahmad Bisati, you are welcome.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. Professor Gangadhar, respected Professor Gangadhar, respected Professor Hamidullah, chairperson and our teacher. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The title has been already mentioned, but let me repeat it: Contours of Religious Coexistence and Cooperation in Islam. Definitely, there are no limits to the contours of religious coexistence and cooperation provided by Islam, not only through its religious scripture, but also through its practice. But here I will suffice with a few ayat, one from the Quran, second that I will give a couple of references from Sirah that will make my point. First of all, there's a verse from the chapter 3, verse 19. Inna dina indallahi Islam. وَمَا اخْتَلَفَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ إِلَّا مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَهُمُ الْعِلْمُ بَغْيًا بَيْنَهُمْ وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. And the translation goes like this, I quote, "Indeed, the religion in the sight of Allah is Islam, and those who were given the scripture did not differ except after knowledge had come to them out of jealous animosity between themselves. And whoever disbelieves in the verses of Allah, then indeed Allah is swift in taking account." Then simultaneously, let me quote another verse from the same chapter, and verse number is 85. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغْ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلْ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Now this where is more emphatic. And the translation goes like this: if anyone desires a religion other than Islam, never will it be accepted of him. And in the hereafter, he will be in the ranks of those who have lost all spiritual good. Now, a couple of seconds or minutes on these two verses. If we try to observe and analyze this verse, and keeping in view interpretation of some scholars, these verses put Islam in the category of those religions which are called religious exclusivists, or which are part of religious exclusivism. And what is the religious exclusivism? It's a doctrine or a way of thinking wherein the adherents of a particular faith or group of faiths will attain salvation, while other groups that do not share that particular faith will not attain the blessings associated with such state. That is, and this is not a peculiarity of Islam or only, this is peculiarity of generally all religions, but particularly the Semitic religions. Since they are proselytizing religions, obviously they invite people towards their religion so that they get converted to their religion. This is obvious. Then that they have to be, there has to be some religious exclusion. So this is some scholars, some Scrum critics have highlighted this part, that on the basis of these verses or such verses, that Islam is exclusivist religion. It is not in all the way universal. But here I would like to emphasize there's no harm in expressing that the position of the principal position of Islam is yes, inna dina indallah Islam. The principal position of Islam is وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Nothing else will be accepted except Islam. But having said that, Islam having a definite exclusive predispositions ingrained, but it does not hamper its followers from religious cooperation, as it simultaneously provides abundant references from the Quran and the practice of the Prophet, that is Sunnah, that govern the contours of religious coexistence and cooperation. So having put forth its position that yes, only Islam is the ultimate religion. Yes, Islam was the religion of Prophet Adam al-Islam and the last messenger, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So was the Islam the religion of Isa and Hazrat Musa. But simultaneously, Quran also, obviously being universal, gives a lot of space and window to its adherents and to those who do not believe in it to come together and cooperate in any good work. For example, what are the certain, I will quote certain ayat which become basis of coexistence and cooperation. There's verse from chapter 3, that is Al Imran, verse 64. The translation goes like this: people of the book, let's arrive at a statement that is common to us all. We worship God alone, we ascribe no partner to him, and none of us takes others besides God as lords. This is the verse. That there are definitely similarities and dissimilarities between the religions. Islam having the strong position of Tawheed and simultaneously an antithesis of Shirk and Kufr. But in spite of that position, Islam, through such verses, encouraged its adherents to have cooperation with other religions. Then another verse of the similar kind is, and I quote, the translation goes like this: believers argue only in the best way with the people of the book, except with those of them who acted unjustly. Say, we believe in what was revealed to us and in what was revealed to you. Our God and your God is one. We are devoted to him. So simultaneously, here again in this verse, argue only in the best way with the people of the book, even if you have differences, but Islam does not allow to use any foul language while interacting with the people of the other religions. Again, some ayat of this on the same pattern on. This is ayat from chapter 60, verse 8, and I quote: And he does not forbid you to deal kindly and justly with anyone who has not fought you for your faith or driven you out of your homes. God loves the just. Now, again, who is not fighting you, have a very cordial and good relation with him. Another verse from chapter 49, verse 13. يا يا الناس إنا خلقناكم ذكرا وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا. I will read the translation. O people, we created you from a single man and a single woman and made you into races and tribes so that you should get to know one another. In God's eye, the most honored of you are the ones most mindful of him. God is all knowing and all aware. Now, in the context, in the background of these ayat, Quran makes it very clear that not only that the people are encouraged to deal properly and cooperate and coexist with the Ahli Kitab, but these ayat also allow Muslims rather than encourage Muslims to have an inclusive dialogue as well as cooperation and coexistence with non-Muslims of all sorts. Now, these were the references from the Quran. Here, I will go to the Sirah, and from Sirah, I will refer to one episode of the Prophet of Sallallahu that will, inshallah, make my point. And here I refer to the Hilf al-Fazul. Hilf al-Fazul was an alliance or confederacy created by the Makkanas in the year around 590 AD. It was to establish justice for all through collective action, even for those who had no connections to the powerful. This Fazul commonly means virtuous, and therefore the alliance is often also translated of League of Virtues. Now, let me first of all go to the background of this, how this pact or alliance happened. It is said that there was a Yemeni merchant who, from Zabid, who had sold some goods to a notable member of the clan of Saham of Makkah. Having taken possession of the goods, the man from Saham refused to pay the agreed price. The wrongdoer knew very well that the merchant had no confederate or kinsman in Makkah whom he could count upon for help. But the merchant, instead of letting it pass, appealed to the Quraysh to see the justice was done. Now, this is obviously pre-revelation period when Prophet ﷺ was around in his 20s. The Makkanas, till that, we know that no conversion had taken place. In fact, obviously, Prophet ﷺ started when he was at the age of 40 and the revelation started. We know that. So this was around the age when Prophet ﷺ in 20s, and some Makkan youth, they thought that no one should be wronged, whether he is our own, whether he's from Makkah or whether he's from outside Makkah. Therefore, they decided to create this alliance or confederacy known as Hilf al-Fazul in the history of Islam. When Muhammad heard of it, he joined it. Now, that is very, very important, other than Prophet Muhammad or were non-Muslims. Now, this gives Muhammad Sallallahu being part of Fazul should forever clear any misinterpretation that a Muslim should not and cannot cooperate in good works with the non-Muslims. Now, Prophet Sallallahu later in the later part of his prophethood, once while discussing or referring to the Hilf al-Fazul, he said, and this is a hadith and I quote, the messenger said, certainly I had witnessed a pact of justice in the house of Abdullah ibn Jud'an that was more beloved to me than a herd of red camels. So that is even post-prophetic period, Prophet Muhammad honored this alliance. And he said further, if I were called it now in the time of Islam, I would answer it. So not only in the prophetic period, but in post-prophetic period, Prophet ﷺ owned it. Therefore, left behind a reference for all timers to come to all the adherents of Islam. There is no harm in cooperating or coexisting with a non-Muslim. The only condition is that the basis of that should be the thing which is in the interest of all. Now, what are the inferences for us from Hilf al-Fazul? One inference is from Anthony Sullivan. His complete name is Anthony T. Sullivan. He is author of the book, Islam, America, and the Political Economy of Liberty. He says, the pact represents Islam's interest in human rights and protection of such rights. So according to Anthony Sullivan, he says that the pact arrived at by the Prophet ﷺ with the non-Muslims of Makkah during his early age represents that Islam has great interest and special reference for human rights. Then one of the important contemporary scholars, Tariq Ramzan, he infers three principles from it. One, Islam embraces values derived from the human conscience that are outside of Islamic tradition. This is because Muhammad had acknowledged the pact before revelation in the pre-Islamic era. The inference number two, from according to Tariq Ramzan, which he mentions in his book In the Footsteps of the Prophet. Inference number two from Hilf al-Fazul, according to Tariq Ramzan, is Islam acknowledges the righteousness of non-Muslims. In this case, the non-Muslims had defended justice and the oppressor. Inference third is Islam, instead of building allegiance to a closed community, requires allegiance to a set of universal principles. The message of Islam is not closed value system or at variance or conflict with other value systems. So to conclude, the contours of cooperation and coexistence in Islam are vast. When I refer to the Hilf al-Fazul, so if we can cooperate in good things with non-Muslims, then obviously no need to discuss that. We need to cooperate with Muslims and others also. On that note, thank you very much. I hope I have made my point. So over to you, Professor Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Afroz Ahmed Bisati Sahab. So you were to the point, and also you have just kept the time restrictions intact. That's very good, and I appreciate you. So we have now two papers. If Dr. Nazir Ahmed Zargar Sahab is there, then he may present his paper. Is Dr. Nazir Ahmed Zargar there?
He's listening, but he's not willing to speak. So
Maybe actually, I don't know whether he's there. Okay, if he is not there, then I will request. No, Dr. Saab is there. Dr. Nazir Ahmed Zargar Saab, please present your paper if you are able to present. You unmute yourself, Dr. Nazir Ahmed Zargar. Are you there, Dr. Nazir Ahmed Zargar? No. Okay. Now I request Dr. Masiullah. He is the guest teacher, Department of Islamic Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, Delhi, and his topic will be Misaki Medina. If Dr. Masiullah is there, so he is requested to present his paper on Misaki Medina. Welcome, Dr. Masiullah.
जी मेरा टॉपिक है मीसाक़ मदीना मुख्तलिफ मज़ाहिब के मानने वालों के दरमियान बक़ाए बाहम का मंशूर। इस्लाम मजहबी एतबार से तवस्सु और बक़ाए बाहम का मजहब है। इस्लाम दीगर मज़ाहिब को बहैसियत मजहब तस्लीम करता है और उन मज़ाहिब के मानने वालों को इज्जत व एहतराम और बराबरी का मकाम देता है। मसलन यहूदियों और ईसाइयों को कुरान में अहले किताब और अहले ज़िक्र वगैरह इज्जत व एहतराम के अल्फाज से याद किया है। इसी तरह मजूसी और साबी मजहब का जिक्र भी कुरान में मौजूद है। सिर्फ इतना ही नहीं, कुरान मजीद में दीगर मज़ाहिब के मानने वालों को मुत्तफ़िक़ा बातों पर बाहिमी मुज़ाकिरात की दावत भी दी है, जिसको कुरानी आयत में कुल तआलू कलिमतुन सवाइन बैनना सूरह आल इमरान आयत नंबर 64 में बयान किया गया है। समाजी ताल्लुकात दुनिया का सबसे अहम और नाजुक मसला है। उसकी नज़ाकत उस वक्त और बढ़ जाती है जब समाज मुख्तलिफ मज़ाहिब और तहज़ीब व तमद्दुन का गहवारा हो। इन हालात में जुल्म और ज़्यादती, हक़ तलफ़ी और नाइंसाफ़ी के इम्कानात बढ़ जाते हैं और अदल व इंसाफ व हुकूक़ की अदायगी में फ़िक्री तासुब, ज़ाती और कौमी रुझानात और समाजी अवामिल रुकावट का सबब बनने लगते हैं। चुनांचा इसी वजह से तारीख में जो भी कौमें गुजरी हों, मुतमद्दिन या गैर मुतमद्दिन या वैशी कबाइल ही क्यों ना हो, उनमें भी हुक्मरानी और अदल उसके लिए कुछ मुअय्यना कायदे कानून पाए जाते हैं। मजहबी ताल्लुक से अगर दीगर मज़ाहिब का मुताला किया जाए तो तमाम मज़ाहिब में अकायद व इबादत और मामलात का दर्स मिलता है। इस वजह से इंसानी ताल्लुकात का अखलाक और कानून से हमेशा एक गहरा रिश्ता रहा है और दोनों एक दूसरे के बगैर गैर मुकम्मल है। इस्लामी नुक्ता नज़र से देखा जाए तो कुरानी आयात में अकायद के बाद जिस चीज़ पर सबसे ज़्यादा ताकीद की गई है वो है अखलाक और मामलात। चुनांचा इसी बिना पर रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को कान खुलुकुल कुरान और मकारिमल अखलाक यानी अखलाक का पैकर और आलम इंसानियत का रोल मॉडल कहा गया है। सीरत तय्यबा में भी हमें जा बजा रहनुमाई मिलती है। चुनांचा रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की सीरत तय्यबा में हिल्फुल फुजूल, सुलह हुदैबिया, फतेह मक्का, नजरान के ईसाइयों से मुआहदा, बल्कि पूरी सीरत में रहनुमाई मिलती है कि मुसलमानों का गैर मुस्लिमों के साथ कैसा ताल्लुक होना चाहिए। सीरत तय्यबा में इस सिलसिले में सबसे नुमाया हिदायत और नमूना मीसाक़ मदीना में है। ये मुआहदा मदीना तय्यबा में और उसके आसपास बसने वाले यहूदी और उनके हलीफ कबाइल औस और खजरत के हलीफ गैर मुस्लिम कबाइल के साथ एक अमली मुआहदा था। इसमें मजहबी एतबार से 3 कौमें शामिल थीं, एक मुसलमान, दूसरे यहूदी, तीसरे मुशरिकीन। इन तीनों मज़ाहिब के मानने वालों के माबैन ये मुआहदा बक़ाए बाहम की एक बेहतरीन मिसाल है। अगरचे इस मुआहदे का मुकम्मल मतन अब दस्तयाब नहीं है, लेकिन हदीस और सीरत की किताबों में काफ़ी तफसीलात मिल जाती हैं। इनको डॉक्टर हमीदुल्लाह साहब ने मजमुआतुल वसाइक़ सियासिया में एक जगह जमा कर दिया है। मीसाक़ मदीना दुनिया का सबसे पहला तहरीरी दस्तूर है। इसमें कम व बेश 47 दफ़ात हैं, जिसकी हर दफ़ा में इंसानियत की बका, मजहबी आज़ादी, अदल व इंसाफ की पाबंदी और समाज में अमन कायम करने की तलक़ीन की गई है। इस मुआहदे में दूसरे मज़ाहिब के इज़्ज़त व एहतराम के तमाम तर क़वायद मौजूद है। इस मुआहदे की अहमियत इस्लामी मुअर्रिखों से कहीं ज़्यादा यूरोपीय ईसाइयों ने महसूस की, जिसमें म्यूलर, ग्रेमे, स्पिंगर, कायतानी और बोल वगैरह। उनके अलावा एक अंग्रेज मुअर्रिख ने मुख्तसर तारीख़ आलम लिखते हुए भी इस दस्तावेज का तफसीली जिक्र करना ज़रूरी समझा। मीसाक़ मदीना का पस मंज़र मक्के में रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की तबलीगी व इस्लाही तालीमी तरबियत में जा बजा नजर आता, मगर हिजरत मदीना के बाद एक कानून, एक हुक्मरान और इस्लामी रियासत का बाकायदा क़याम अमल में आता है, इसलिए हमें यहाँ तहरीरी सूरत में मिलता है। मदीना में आबाद मुसलमानों और हिजरत करके आए मक्का के मुसलमानों में मुआख़ात यानी ब्रदरहुड का दर्स दिया, जो आलमी इंसानियत के लिए एक नज़ीर की हैसियत रखता है। हिजरत के बाद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने मदीना पहुंचकर जो ज़रूरी इक़दामात उठाए और उनमें जो बातें थीं वो दर्ज झेल हैं। अपने और मकामी बाशिंदों के हुकूक व फ़राइज़ का तयन, मुहाजिरीन मक्का के तवतुन और बसर बुर्द का इंतज़ाम, शहर के गैर मुस्लिम अरबों और ख़ासकर यहूदियों से समझौता, शहर की सियासी तंजीम और फौजी मुदाफ़ियात का एहतमाम, कुरैश मक्का से मुहाजिरीन को पहुंचे हुए जानी व माली नुकसान का बदला। रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने मक्का और मदीने में जिस चीज़ को शिद्दत से महसूस किया, जो सियासी मैदान में अगर देखा जाए तो वो खासकर वहाँ की मरकज गुरेजी है, उसका इलाज तंजीम पसंद यानी एक हुक्मरान और एक कानूनी ही था। इस सियासी तब्दीली से कबाइलियत की इन अफरा तफरी का एक तरह से खात्मा हो जाता है और एक वसी तर इदारे यानी ममलिकत की बुनियाद डाली जाती है। इस दस्तावेज में रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने अदालती, तशरीई, फौजी और तनकीदी आला तरीन इख्तियारात खुद अपने पास रखे, मगर उसमें मादियत को कोई दख्ल न था। यही चीज़ दीगर ममालिक के सियासी निज़ाम से इस्लामी हुकूमत को एक तरह से अलग और मुमताज़ बनाती है। इस निज़ाम ममलिकत में रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने अखलाक़ी अनासिर दाखिल किए और असल सरचश्मा इक़्तिदार खुदा को करार दिया और अपने को उसका रसूल और नायब करार दिया। साथ ही उम्मत के लिए लाए हुए अहकाम अपने ऊपर भी मसावी तौर पर वाजिब तामील करार दिए। चुनांचा इसकी तस्दीक और वजाहत अहद नबवी में रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के खिलाफ दीवानी और ज़मान जो मुकदमात दायर हुए, इन नज़ायर की मौजूदगी की बिना पर हम कह सकते हैं कि इस्लाम ने किंग कैन डू नो रॉन्ग, बादशाह किसी फेल नाजायज का मुर्तकिब हो ही नहीं सकता, कोई एक तरह से मुस्तरद करता है, रिजेक्ट करता है। दौर हाजिर में जो आलमी इंसानियत के लिए सबसे बड़ी परेशानी और मुसीबत है वो यही है कि हुक्मरान के खिलाफ आप आवाज नहीं उठा सकते, क्योंकि वो गलती नहीं वो गलत नहीं हो सकता। लेकिन इस्लाम में ऐसा नहीं है, क्योंकि नबी ने जो तरीका मीसाक मदीना में करके दिखाया उसमें सॉवरिंग पावर यानी इख्तिदार आला और आखिरी जो फैसला होगा वो एक तरह से कुरान से ही होगा, यानी सॉवरिंग पावर अल्लाह की है और खलीफा यानी हुक्मरान शरीयत का पाबंद है। अगर वो उसके खिलाफ जाए तो खिलाफत से दस्तबरदार कर देना अवाम की एक तरह से जिम्मेदारी बन जाती है। चुनांचा हजरत अबू बकर सिद्दीक की तकरीर में इसी बात की तरफ इशारा है। इस्लाम ने बकाए बाहम की तरफ जगह जगह कुरान में जिक्र किया है, मगर मीसाक मदीना एक ऐसा तहरीरी दस्तूर है जो गैर मुस्लिमों के लिए भी एक नज़ीर की अहमियत रखता है। इस मुआहदे में 47 दफात है जिनको दो हिस्सों में बांटा गया, 1 से 23 तक, जिसको एक तरह से दस्तूरुल अव्वल मुहाजिरीन व अंसार में मुहाजिरीन व अंसार के मुताल्लिक़ कवायद हैं, और बकिया हिस्से में मदीना के यहूदी कबाइल के हुकूक व फ़राइज़ से बहस है। लेकिन दोनों में एक जुमला जो रिपीट है, जो दोहराया गया कि आखिरी अदालत या आखिरी फैसला जो होगा वो रसूलुल्लाह की ज़ात के जरिए ही होगा, यानी जो आखिरी फैसला लेने की ताकत होगी, जो पावर होगी, वो आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के पास ही होगी। दूसरा हिस्सा जो 24 से 47 जो जंग बद्र 2 हिजरी के बाद मुरतब किया गया, जबकि उस जंग की जीत के बाद मुसलमानों का दबदबा हो गया था। लेकिन इस्लाम कभी भी इंसानी जुल्म और सितम या इंसाफ के खिलाफ जाने की इजाजत नहीं देता, ख्वाह इख्तिदार में हो या रियाया में। और इसी वजह से उसमें हम देखते हैं कि मीसाक मदीना के बाद जो मुआहदा हुआ उसमें यहूदियों को मजहबी आज़ादी और तमाम चीज़ें उसमें एक तरह से उन्हें दी गई, और आखिर में मैंने उन 47 दफात को एक तरह से उनको यकजा कर दिया, इसमें मुंसलिक कर दिया, जिसकी तरतीब कुछ इस तरह है। अगर इजाज़त हो तो मैं इसको पढ़ दूँ, अदरवाइज पेपर कंप्लीट है। हेलो
जो चीज़ा नुकात जो हैं वो पढ़ लीजिए, जो अहम नुकात
जी
आपकी नज़र में हैं तो सब अहम, लेकिन खास खास नुकात को आप बयान कीजिए।
जी, शुक्रिया सर, शुक्रिया। इसमें जो अहम चीज़ें हैं वो यहूदियों से जो ताल्लुक़ रखती है, यानी उनसे जो वायदा हुआ उसमें जो आज़ादी दी गई, उन चीज़ों को मैं हाईलाइट कर देता हूँ। और ईमान वाले बाहम इस चीज़ का इंतकाम लेंगे जो खुदाई राह में उनके खून को पहुँचे, और बेशुबा मुत्तकी ईमान वाले सबसे अच्छे और सबसे सीधे रास्ते पर है। इसके अलावा दूसरे आगे जो है, और किसी ऐसे ईमान वाले के लिए जो इस दस्तूरुल अमल सहीफा के मुंदरजात का इकरार कर चुका हो और खुदा और यौम आखिरत पर ईमान ला चुका हो, ये बात जायज़ न होगी कि किसी कातिल को मदद या पनाह दे, और जो उसे मदद या पनाह देगा क़यामत के दिन उस पर खुदा की लानत और गज़ब नाजिल होंगे, और उससे कोई रक़्म या मुआवजा कबूल न होगा। और ये कि जब कभी तुम किसी चीज़ के मुताल्लिक़ इख्तिलाफ हो तो रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से रुजू किया जाए, और यहूदी उस वक्त तक मोमिनीन के साथ इखराजात बर्दाश्त करते रहेंगे जब तक वो मिलकर जंग करते रहेंगे, और बनी औफ के यहूदी मोमिनीन के साथ एक सियासी वहदत या उम्मत तस्लीम किए जाते हैं। यहूदियों को उनका दीन और मुसलमानों को उनका दीन मवाली हों कि हाँ, जो जुल्म या अहद शिकनी का इर्तिकाब करे तो उसकी ज़ात या घराने के सिवाय कोई मुसीबत में नहीं पड़ेगा, और बनी नज्जार के यहूदियों को भी वही हुकूक हासिल होंगे जो बनी औफ के यहूदियों को, और बनी अल-हारिस यहूदियों को भी वही हुकूक हासिल होंगे जो बनी औफ के यहूदियों को होंगे। आखिर में जो अहम चीज़ें हैं वो ये है, और अगर इनको किसी सुलह में मदऊ किया जाए तो वो भी सुलह करेंगे और उसमें शरीक रहेंगे, और अगर किसी ऐसे ही अम्र के लिए लाए तो मोमिनीन का भी फरीज़ा होगा कि उनके साथ ऐसा ही करें। यानी मुस्लिम और गैर मुस्लिम दोनों आपस में मिलजुल कर बाहिमी रिश्ता कायम रखें, और सोसाइटी में अमन कायम करने के लिए जो अच्छी दस्तावेज हो उसमें मुसलमान भी शामिल हों, और इसी से ही अच्छा माशरा और एक पीस और जो एक तरह से कोई एग्जिस्टेंस कहा जाता है वो वजूद में आ सकता है। थैंक यू। My paper have been complete.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया डॉक्टर मसूरा साहब। बहुत अहम ही मौजू पर आप बात कर रहे थे कि मिसा की मदीना क्या है और उसकी मुख्तलिफ शिक्के क्या है। तो वो एक पहला कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड है जैसे आपने बताया। खुशकिस्मती की बात है कि डॉक्टर नज़ीर अहमद जरगर साहब अब हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं। आई रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर नज़ीर अहमद जरगर, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ रिलीजियस स्टडीज सेंटर ऑफ कश्मीर, to present paper on the Sharia and its objectives. Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar. डॉक्टर साहब आप शुरू कर लीजिए।
Am I audible, sir? Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I will try to be very brief, although I had sent a detailed paper on objectives and nature of the Sharia. So I will begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
आप जरा वो वीडियो भी ऑन कर लीजिए, वीडियो भी अगर आप कर सके, कोई दिक्कत ना हो।
अब यहाँ ऐसी प्रॉब्लम है मेरा जिस तरह से
अच्छा ठीक है, फिर आप ऑडियो के जरिए से काम कीजिए, ठीक है।
हाँ सर, क्योंकि इसमें अभी हमारे यहाँ डाउन हो जाता है ना जल्दी वीडियो से।
ठीक है, तो आप ऑडियो में ही कर लीजिए, काम चलाइए ऑडियो से।
In fact, Sharia is principally based upon the benefit of the beings, because Allah Ta'ala has actually taught us about the essence of Islam to be as the fulfillment of two types of rights, that is huququllah and huququl ibad. So far as huququllah are concerned, they are totally the prerogative of Allah to forgive in that matter. But so far as the huququl ibad are concerned, they are all in the benefit of the creation. And if anybody does not fulfill those rights and hukuk, he will be accountable and he will be maybe punished in the day of judgment. That's why it holds that originally and essentially all beneficial actions are legitimate and all harmful ones are illegitimate. The divine attributes Rahman and Rahim imply that Allah is of forgiving, protecting his creatures, preserving them, guiding them, and leading them to clear light and higher life. The word Rahman expresses Allah's love to man. Therefore, Allah's relation to man is the relation par excellence of love, sympathy, concern, solitude, compassion, and mercy. So both the words Rahman and Rahim, they are derived actually from the noun Rahmah, which signifies tenderness, requiring the exercise of beneficence, and thus comprising the idea of love and mercy. While Rahman denotes Allah's tenderness towards all his creatures in general, Rahim denotes his tenderness towards his worshippers in particular. Justice being the fundamental principle existing in every commandment of the Sharia, its very rule, every rule, which is then derived from the nusus of the Quran and the Sunnah through the usulul fiqh, so that every rule bears witness to this generalization when it takes into consideration human nature and its general weaknesses and basic needs. For example, there are certain rules which I will just have a passing reference to those needs. For example, difficulty gives rise to convenience. Al-mashaqqatu tajlibu taysir. Similarly, when a matter becomes rigid, it turns flexible. It's not legitimate to fulfill one's needs by encroaching upon others' rights. Need becomes necessity, be it general or specific. It's not legitimate to harm anybody or tolerate harm. So from these basic principles, we can derive the sub-rules as harm should be stopped as far as possible. Harm should not be ended by replacing it with the same thing. Likewise, there are so many rules and sub-rules, I'm just skipping. So the objectives of the Sharia, they are actually 6. Generally, people have written 5, but I have added the 6th to it, and I will explain that. They constitute the prime values whose actualization is desirable in order to materialize the purpose of creation and aim at preserving number one, life, number two, progeny, number three, property, number four, honor, and in the first instance, it should be then deen. Now they constitute five. And the sixth, which I have added to this, is the preservation of al-aql. So far as the preservation of deen is concerned, I will not go into the details, but I will just point to some important point about this. That is, religion is a loose rendering of the word deen, which, unlike the Western concept of religion, encompasses man's whole life in this world and in the hereafter. So when Sharia comes to preserve deen, it actually preserves the whole intellectual, spiritual, and material life of the person. Here it fittingly means belief in the oneness of God and all other fundamentals of faith that follow it. Preservation of deen becomes a problem in the Western concept when religion has been relegated to merely to the private affairs of a person. That's why preservation of deen there cannot be understood in its totality. Here it's in a different connotation. All the commandments of Sharia are fundamentally faith-based, and any such commandment which ever goes against faith is irreligious and hence rejected. While on one hand, the Sharia commands that the faithful must obey their leaders, it orders that any such kind of obedience to the ruler that leads to disobedience to Allah is strictly prohibited. Coming to the preservation of life, so after mentioning the first ever murder on the earth committed by Adam's son, Qabil, Cain, when he killed his own innocent brother, Habil, Abel, the Quran declares in clear terms that whoso kills a person, except for a person, or for corruption in the land, it shall be as if he had killed all mankind. And whosoever brings life to one, it shall be as if he had brought life to all mankind. This is the general principle. Thus, in the Islamic Sharia, the murder of an individual is a crime against the whole community, or rather the whole humanity. Hello? Hello?
कंटिन्यू कीजिए.
On the other hand, saving a life from unjust murder is a service to the humanity, as if the whole humanity has been saved from injustice and peace and security has been safeguarded. That's why on the day of the farewell pilgrimage, Al-Hajjatul Wada, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam announced, declared in clear terms that persons, a Muslim generally, but that then this extends to every person. A Muslim's honor, his property, his life is haram, that nobody should lay hand on that life or property or honor. So the Sharia aims at preserving the progeny. The pagan Arabs used to bury their female children alive. The Holy Quran puts an end to this heinous crime, thereby paving way for the sustenance of coming generations. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. Not only this, but even killing of the yet unborn fetus is prohibited. Once a woman killed, I will just quote only one instance and then move to the other point. Once a woman killed another woman with a stone. The later was pregnant and her fetus also died with the blow. This case was brought to the court of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He decided that the murderer woman should pay the diyah, blood money, against the fetus by setting free a slave, male or female. And the diyah of the slain woman should be paid by the murderer's family members, her heirs or her son. Allah says, kill not your children for fear of want. We shall provide sustenance for them as well as for you. Verily, the killing of them is a great sin. Okay, now I skip these many things about this. I move to preservation of property. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has made one's property haram for another, except through lawful means. He said, your blood, your property, your honor, or sacred to each other. Again, it is narrated by Bukhari and Muslim that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "One who usurped the smallest piece of land be punished by Allah by having 7 earths suspended around his neck." Every human being has a right to keep his or her personal property. Whatever one earns belongs to him. To men is allotted what they earn, and to women what they earn. Therefore, stealing and robbery that has been prohibited. Interest is therefore prohibited. In that way, you lay hands unjustly on others' property. Since the Sharia preserves and protects people's property, it considers one who loses his life while protecting his legitimate wealth as a shaheed, martyr. The Holy Quran prohibits in clear terms earning of wealth through unlawful means. Even the state cannot interfere with any.
आप अगर conclude करें और फिर हो सकता है कुछ सवाल जवाब भी हो.
Okay, sir. Then it comes preservation of honor and then preservation of al-aql. I will read only one passage because I had added this to these 5. Islam claims that all humans can know the truth by one of the two, revelation or reason. Hence, all humans are entitled to know the truth, which is translated into law in the form of the Sharia. Man is off and on invited by the Holy Quran and the Sunnah to think and ponder over the phenomena taking place around him. I have understood the addition of preservation of al-aql to the list of these 5 because Islam makes liquor haram, and the illah behind that is man ma khamar al-aql. By consuming liquor, one's aql does not remain there as such. So when you lose aql, you can do anything. That's why preservation of aql is also very important in the sight of the Sharia. And in that, for that purpose, Allah Ta'ala has made so many things haram because they are against aql. So the fact that the Holy Quran has invited all to apply the reason in order to understand Allah's message of truth by using the word al-aql and its various derivatives, they have come in the Quran 49 times. Reasoning, tafakkur, tadakkur, tadabbur. They have come so many times in the Quran to tell us that how important al-aql is in understanding the message, the divine message of the Quran. So the time doesn't permit me here to discuss about the actual nature of the Sharia. So it's better to stop here. Thank you, sir. I'm just abiding by your guidance and
Yeah, thank you. So you have made your point very nicely, and mashallah, everything has been covered in your lecture. And there may be some more issues that can be discussed in your paper in detail, and those will be published later on. So we are very thankful to all of you, and I am also welcoming Professor Harvinder Kaur ji. She is the Professor of Economics and Dean's Faculty of Social Sciences, Punjab University, Patiala. And she has also accepted to be with us for some time. And I am thankful to Dr. Nazir Saab and all other paper presenters. Now we have the last presentation, and before that, if Javed Ahmed Mir is there, so and Professor Jian Khaki, so they can present their paper, but please in nutshell. And then we will have under paper Dr. Jaspir Kaul Sandhu Saiba, and she will be talking about interfaith understanding a Sikh perspective. But you know, if Dr. Javed Saab is there, so he can just present his paper on behalf of Dr. Khaki Saab and himself. Are you there, Mr. Javed Ahmed? Okay, please present your paper in nutshell. You are muted, Mr. Javed, you are muted. You unmute yourself and then read your paper. Okay? You are raising you present your paper, please. Do you listen to me? Am I audible? you are not able to present your paper, then I request Dr. Jaspir Kaul Sindhu, who will be presenting her paper on interfaith understanding a Sikh perspective. Dr. Jaspir Kaur Sindhu. Welcome, madam.
Hello, sir. Santikal. Hello. Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay, okay.
Go ahead, madam.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. First of all, I want good morning. Firstly, I want to congratulate Dr. Habib, Dr. Mirazi for this national conference, and I'm very grateful and thankful to them who gave me a chance to participate in this conference and to share my views on interreligious understanding. And my paper is also on interfaith understanding as a Sikh perspective. According to me, I want to say in this paper that just as an abstract, I want to say that interfaith dialogue is perceived as the best mechanism to build mutual understanding and respect among people of different faiths. Despite interfaith dialogue's recent emergence on the world stage, it has been an active component of ancient Indian religious tradition. Sikh Gurus' compositions and the way of life reveal that they were among the pioneers of interfaith dialogue in their time. They remained in continuous dialogue with other faiths throughout their lifetimes. For them, the real purpose of the interchange was to uphold the true faith in the Almighty Creator and to make it relevant to contemporary society. With this intent, they approached the fellow Muslims and Hindus and tried hard to rejuvenate the real spirit of their respective religions. In my paper, I want to say that there is here I want to realize or I may attempt to describe the Sikh doctrines that encourage interfaith dialogue. Besides incidents from the Sikh history confirming the outstanding contributions made in this field are enlisted, the practice in vogue currently among the Sikhs towards this cause are also recounted. First, I have gave the about what interreligion means by that, but I want to read that the interfaith is not words or talk. It includes human interaction and relationships. It can take place between individuals and communities and on level, for example, between neighbors, in schools and places of work. It can take place in both formal and informal. Each religion holds a variety of moral and principles that can facilitate building trust, transform perceptions, and inspire a sense of engagement and commitment to the peace-building process. The last 127 years revealed a growing interfaith movement worldwide promoting peaceful and productive interactions between religious traditions. Interfaith dialogue, in fact, is a vital necessity on which, in large measures, the future depends. And according to me, in my paper, I am going to read about the interfaith understanding or interfaith dialogue according to the Sikh perspective. The Sikh Gurus were the men preoccupied with truth and the pursuit of truth. Truth is God in the religious principle that rules their life. The central concept of Sikh philosophy is Naam Dan Ishnan, that means mindful awareness of divine presence. Live out the culture of altruism when seeking divine benevolence, implement ethics of good deeds that cleanse body and mind. Sikh Gurus believe that truth is a goal that must be pursued persistently and continuously. In Sikh Guru's era, the world of 1469 to 78 means that from Guru Nanak to Guru Gobind Singh, there were numerous religions or religious sects, for example, like Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Yoga, Siddhas, etc., competing with one another. Each claimed to have a monopoly on truth. But for Sikh Gurus, a sure sign that one has lost touch with truth is the claim that one group has an exclusive right on it. According to the ancient religious wisdom of India, truth is a many-sided and multi-dimensional affair. It deserves to be viewed from many different perspectives. Anyone's perception of truth is limited and partial. Sikh Gurus believe that no person, group, or religion could claim to have full or total knowledge of truth, that means God. Guru Arjan Dev Ji said in Guru Granth Sahib that koi bole Ram Ram, koi Khudaye. I will reading it in English because some people are from out of India and they can't understand Gurbani, so I am going to translate in English that some call as God Ram Ram and some call him Khudaye. Some serve him as a Gusaiya, others as Allah. Some bath at sacred shrines of pilgrimage and some make the pilgrimage to Makkah. Some perform devotional worship services and some bow their heads in prayer. Some read the Vedas and some the Quran. Some wear blue robes and some wear white. Some call themselves Muslims and some call themselves Hindu. Some yearn from paradise and others long for heaven. Sikh Gurus believe that each religion is divinely inspired because each represents one manifestation of truth. All religions are equal. It is very important to listen here that though not the same, as each provides a unique path to truth. And it is very true that our department as a religious studies also have many religions and we are teaching many religions, but there is one light that teaches us that there is one light and one being brought to one teaching. All religions have one teaching and one God and one truthness. That religions are not to themselves, but they direct us towards truth. Truth is ultimate and it is a reality larger than any religion. Sikh Guru's practically approach to truth is evident in the way that tackled interfaith dialogue. They did not dialogue with religions or with religious systems. They dialogued with people who were struggling to live out their religious values. It is very important that Guru Nanak had approached or others' religion. Friends of Sikhism emphasized understanding, mutual respect. Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism, proclaimed that the sharing of views and ideas should be a continuous. Read from the Gurbani in English because in Gurbani that is Jab lag duniya rahiye Nanak kuch suniye kuch kahiye, that as long as we are in this world, oh Nanak, we listen as well as express ourselves to others, and this is very, very, very important that we have to listen others also, and we have to Granth Sahib. The saints in natural openness to other religions. They emphasize tolerance and particularly religious tolerance. To be a Sikh, one must respect all other religions. In this context, Bhagat Kabir
Excuse me, madam. Can you please conclude and you may just within few minutes make out and give the gist of your whole paper.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Just I will skip all but I will read only 2-3 points. That there are 4 levels of interfaith dialogues: the dialogue of life, the dialogue of action, the dialogue of theoretical exchange, the dialogue of religious experience. And Guru Nanak has done this in his practical life, that is while going to the tours that is called Udasis in the Sikhism. There is a theological exchange there because they have done with the Siddhas. And there is an experience on religious experience also. That is Ekas Ke Hum Gaye. There is one God, He is our Father, and we are children. And one thing I want to tell that Sikhs believe that God is not limited to one person, religion, or language. Therefore, there should not be boundaries as well as all part of one humanity. There are no outsiders. It is visible in Nanga. Anyone belonging to any religion, ethnic background, social class, or gender is welcome to eat the same food as everyone. To the conclusion, I come to this conclusion. There are plenty of resources within the religious stream to promote peace, good governance, and human rights around the world. Where there are divisions between religious communities and there are no avenues for engagement between them, this exhibits distrust that can lead to violence, and so there is a need for creating relationships between communities as a way to prevent violence from occurring. There are many ways through which we can approach interfaith dialogue, but it is essential that in all its forms, we must involve a certain amount of patience and humility. Dialogue should begin by focusing on things we have in common, on practical things we can do together. The power of religion can be used to unify diverse factions, diverse faith communities by establishing and maintaining constructive channels for communication and sustainable cooperation. Thus, the Sikh welcome the modern world of religious pluralism and the emergence of humanism. These values being inherent with their traditions. They acknowledge that in the present era, interfaith dialogue and cooperation are crucial, as only this concept carries the promise for a peaceful future of the contemporary world. Currently, many Sikh organizations are constantly striving for such much cherished goals of humanity by actively participating in or contributing to interfaith dialogue activities throughout the world. Thank you very much, Sir Miraji, sir, for giving me such time to share my views with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Welcome. You are always welcome. So this was Dr. Jaspir Kaur Sandhu Saiba, who was speaking on interfaith understanding a Sikh perspective. If Javed Ahmad Mir Saab is there, so he can give the gist of his paper, because we have been asking for his presence for a long time. So if he is able to present his views within 5 minutes, so okay. Please present your views and gist of your paper, because we don't have time. We are already past the timeline. So you may just present the gist of your paper. Mr. Javed Ahmad Mir. You unmute yourself first. Mr. Javed, if you can unmute yourself and present your views, but give the gist of your paper, please. Am I audible to you?
He has not unmuted.
Actually, you have not unmuted. You please unmute. You unmute your mic. You are muted. You are muted, Mr. Javed. Can you unmute your mic? There's some problem with your mic, I think so. Okay, then we are just proceeding ahead. I request, I get the permission from Professor Gangadhar Saab, who is the presiding over the session. If he allows me to just request Professor Harvinder Kaur Ji, Professor of Economics, Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Punjab University, Patiala, to just present her views and also thank the participants and represent her faculty. Professor Harvinder Kaur Ji, Dean, School of Faculty of Social Sciences, Punjab University, Patiala. Please.
Thank you, sir. It is an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on the occasion of the valedictory academic session of the two-day conference. I extend a very hearty gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Arvind, who emphasized on the importance of message of Guruji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, on egalitarianism and on universality. I also thank Professor Atrul Vase, former President, Maulana Azad University, Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Dr. Harmohinder Singh Bedi, Chancellor, Central University, Himachal Pradesh. Professor Hamidullah Marazi, Professor M. Afzal Wani, Dr. Feroz Muhammad, Professor Sayyid Zamaluddin, Dr. Amarjeet Singh, Dr. B.S. Sandhu, professors, colleagues, and students to grace the occasion. It is the great privilege to have such great personalities to come here in our university and enlighten us with their knowledge on the need and necessity of having an interreligious understanding in light of human rights. I congratulate and thanks Dr. Muhammad Habib head of the department, and the dedicated team of IOS for organizing such a valuable conference at the premises of Punjabi University, Patiala. Various scholars from all parts of India and abroad have joined this two-day conference through blended mode. I would like to thank chairpersons and the moderators of all the sessions, particularly Professor Muhammad Roshan Muhammad, Noor, Malay University, Malaysia, Professor Ishrat Alam, Department of History, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, Professor D.A. Gangadhar, Professor and former Head, Department of Philosophy and Religion, BHU, Varanasi, Dr. Firoz Muhammad, Executive Director, Liberal Arts, Humanities and Creative Practices, Chandigarh University, for presiding over the technical sessions, and all the moderators of these sessions for conducting these sessions. The sessions were enlightening, and the subjects like political intolerance, human intolerance, communal harmony, human dignity, social justice have been discussed. So all these discussions are very fruitful. These have spread the message of humanity and harmony. With the understanding of interreligious faith, the peace as well as tolerance may prevail in the world. These types of sessions would be frequently held, as religion and humanity are the basis of life, and one must adhere with these principles for harmonically and peaceful social structure to exist. I have to mention here that Professor Sayyid Jamal rightly said that we should adopt the approach of query, understanding, and assimilation. On behalf of Punjabi University and the Department of Religious Studies as well as IOS, I express my heartfelt thanks to all the respected representatives who have blessed us with their presence, and all the paper presenters who have enriched us all with their knowledge and research findings. I would like to thank the organizing team, teachers and staff members from IOS and Punjabi University. I would also like to thank especially the digital team. Now, due to COVID period, we all have learned this blended mode. There are many conferences through the blended mode. For organizing such a meet on both offline as well as online platform. Besides it, I also have to add that all these problems in the world are mainly because of the greediness in the minds of the people, wherever we live. Guruji also said that why this is, why do we want to accumulate money? And this greediness, about this greediness, there is time in the Gurbani. Guruji says, Papa bajo hove nahi moya saath nahi." Accumulating such money, and there is corruption in the economies. और गुरुजी की कहते ने जिस ग्रह बहुत तिसे ग्रह चिंता, जिस ग्रह थोरी सो फिरे पर मनता, दो व्यवस्था तेजो मुक्ता सोई सुहेला पालिए. Means it applies to the individuals, to the society, as well as to the countries, nations. If we adopt these practices, if we understand these hymns, these verses, there would not be poverty, inequality in the world. Deprivation, poverty, crime, inequality, and world peace can be addressed if we understand all these hymns or the verses of the different faiths. There would be strong ethical integrity which can be developed with interfaith understanding. Once again, representatives and officials of participating colleges and universities, thanks again for making this two-day national conference a success. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, madam. So it was really a very encouraging, remarks you made about Institute of Public Studies and also your university. And then you welcomed our initiative, and we want to continue that with your university. And this can become a nerve center for such activities. And you just owe that to us, and we are hopeful that your cooperation will be always with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, most welcome. So, Dr. Javed, I am not able to accommodate you now because now time is over. So I request Professor Gangadhar Sahab, who was presiding over the session. Now he may make his
Next session,
next we can just Javed Sahab, if you want, you can just include you in the next session, as the madam has rightly just suggested. So, but no, I am just this time requesting Professor Gangadharji. If he just wants to make some presidential remarks, and you are most welcome. Professor Gangadharji is one of the very prominent scholars of Hindu philosophy, and especially Vedanta. He has been heading the Department of Philosophy, Banaras Hindu University, for a long time, and he is our mentor in many ways, and he has been always there to patronize us. Professor Gangadharji, please.
Thank you, Dr. Miraji. I am so thankful to you that you have included me also in the study of religion and religions. I am very happy and very delighted to be in the Punjabi University organization, organized by a well-established Department of Comparative Religion in Central University, Kashmir, for which I was one of the partners. Can you hear me? Is it audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are
Yes,
audible.
sir, you are audible. Quite audible.
Please carry on.
So I could understand from the very beginning as a student of comparative religion that Islam has been one of the strong religions of the world. And here many presenters have given the Islamic view of in their own way. But few papers were given the importance about religious pluralism, coexistence, and tolerance. I would have been very happy because this is the time, the demand of the present day in India particularly, and in other parts of the world also, that how to manage this religion and religious plurality. What are the means? So for this, two speakers have given the clue that religious dialogue and religious coexistence may be one of the tools to harmonize human unity, and also human right can be preserved, because this is the age where human rights are being spoken, and in great length. I don't know why there is a problem for human rights. Allah Ta'ala has given, and God has given in several ways. We are in the land of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. I am very happy to learn from one speaker that he spoke for Kuch Kahiye, Kuch Suniye. This is the way to harmonize community. And religion should be given priority as and this authority, this right, that one should follow the rules of his own religion, but also keep in his mind that the essentials of religion is something very different. In Sufism, I find a great deal. But I feel that the human rights, which speaks of the human freedom from speech, freedom from race, and freedom from language, all these important news points are given. And I would have been very happy if I would have heard little bit more about human right, because I thought before giving my consent to participate here that it will be on justice and human right. So everybody must have their own freedom from all sorts of bindness. bounds. So we can go up and up time. India, but other countries also. In India, we have witnessed that even in Hinduism, there have been many old classical cults like Vaishnavism, Shaivism, and Shaktism, like that, which they were different in through dialogue. They were different, but their crux of their essence of the speech or arguments lies in the sense that there are two senses of religion. There are two sides of religion. One is practical and one is theoretical. On the practical side, these rituals are given, which is Sufism very well speaks. And Guru Nanak in the Iran and example, we should not only, but we should do something good to our society so that coexistence and no quarrel between one nation to another nation, one man to another man, no difference between man and woman. Woman rights, okay, it is needed in the time, but it is already there that why men are superseding the women. This is very pity condition that we must do something for this. And for this, the dialogue, kuch kahiye, kuch suniye. So this has to be highlighted in great deal. I am very happy. I won't take much of your time, Dr. Miraji. I am thankful to you. I am very delighted that to be here in Punjab University, remembering our late friend, Professor Jodh Singh, with whom I have visited your centers several times. So with these words, I just congratulate all the participants with their contribution, with this, with the explaining the hardcore of Islamic studies and some of them also about the religious coexistence and pluralism. This is the age of pluralism. Even in one family, pluralism is there. Even in the society, pluralism is there. Even in countries, pluralism is there. So we have to, as a thinker, we must exercise our mind to give some lesson to the world, to the people, to the society, to the state, that please forgive us about the name of religion. Go on for development, go on for developing their own way in their countries, so that humanity can be saved, can be given opportunity for their well-being. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Miraji.
Thank you, sir. It was really very enlightening that we have taken us to the age of pluralism, and almost all of the paper readers from Nadvi Saab onwards, they were just pleading about plural society, how prophets have created that. And almost all the prophets have tried to create that type of society where all people can live together and they can have dialogue and they can have relations in different type of exchange of ideas. So this is the crux of the whole session and whole conference. Thank you very much again, sir, for your precious time and your patience, because you have been always there to encourage us. Thank you very much. So now we'll be just going for another session, and we have already almost all the paper readers may be ready to with their papers. And this session will be presided over by Dr. Abdul Rashid Bhatt Saab. He is the former head department of Islamic Studies, University of Kashmir. And he has been also the editor of Insight Islamicus. He has written several books on various aspects of Islamic studies, and especially his research on Shahullah Dalvi is very remarkable. And apart from that, he has also written articles on human rights and political thought in Islam, on Iqbal and such other very important subjects. And this program will be moderated by one of my colleagues, Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zagar, who has presented his paper shortly. But one request to Nazir Saab and Dr. Rashid Saab is that one paper will be also presented there. You may note that Miss Era Leo and Rifat Khan from their lovely professional university, Jalandhar, they will be reading a paper on interreligious marriage, their implications. our society. And then if there's some time left, that you can also include Dr. Javed Ahmed Mir and Professor G.N. Khaki Saab, because he could not present his paper. And if he's able to present his paper, that can be also included. With these, they floor to Dr. Abdurrashid Bhatt Saab and Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar Saab to conduct the next session. And this will be the last session. And then there will be valedictory session after that. So please conclude the session till 1 p.m. or at the most 1:30, because then we have to attend another important session. Thank you very much. Dr. Abdurrashid Bhatt Saab, if you are there, so you may just take the program from there as the chairperson of the session. Dr. Abdurrashid Bhatt Saab. Am I audible to you, Dr. Saab? Professor Abdurrashid Bhatt Saab? Are you there? Okay, there. Are you there? To start, you may ask the different paper presenters to present the papers. We have in this session Professor Aleem Ashraf Khan Saab, former head Department of Persian, University of Delhi. His topic will be traces of tolerance in Persian Malfuz literature. Then second paper will be by Dr. Ashraf Amin and Mr. Ujala Amin. He is the guest lecturer in Department of Islamic Studies, BGSB, that is Baba Gulab Shah Badshah University, Rajouri, Jammu. Department of Islamic Studies. Sant Traditions of India. The paper by Sajad Ahmad Kumar and Dr. Rafiq Anjum. Mr. Sajad is research scholar, Department of Islamic Studies, Ghulam Shah Badshah University, and Dr. Rafiq Anjum Saab is a very well-versed scholar and a good writer, apart from being the senior professor, Department of Studies, Ghulam Shah Badshah University. The topic of their presentation will be resistance and Islamic perspective. Ganai, research scholar, Department of Religious Central University of Kashmir. And then Ashok Hussain Hijam and Firdaus Ahmad Safa. But this paper has been already presented. So now, and last paper will be by Miss Ira Lev and Rifat Khan. Yeah, there's a program, Professor Dr. Muhid Zafar, my colleague in the Central University of Kashmir, and he is also the senior assistant professor, Department of Religious Studies. His topic is interreligious understanding in Kashmir during the Sultanate period. And with this, if Dr. Nazir is there, he may please initiate the discussion, this paper reading. Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar, please go ahead. If you you have mute your mic, can you unmute your mic, Dr. Nazir Ahmad Zargar? So let me just, because there may be some problem. So let me ask Dr. Aleem Ashraf Khan Saab to present his paper on traces of tolerance in Persian Malfuz literature. Dr. Aleem Ashraf Khan Saab.
Hello.
Please, sir.
Hello.
You are audible. You are
Am I audible?
Sir. You are audible, sir. Yeah, you are audible.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Before presenting my paper, I would like to present my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers of this meaningful seminar, especially Professor Hamidullah Marazi, convener IUS Forum for Interreligious Understanding, Professor Sayyid Jamaluddin, Director IUS Center for Historical and Civilizational Studies, Delhi. With the permission of the chair, I don't know who is chairing my session. It was a
Professor Abdurrashid Bhatt Saab was supposed to chair, but he is not present. Perhaps okay.
He is not present, but no problem. So you are. So
Yes,
I
yes,
think
I
you are chairing the session. So I will leave your.
Mashallah. Abdurrashid Saab is there. He will be chairing the session. Please go ahead.
So, person of the fourth session, sir, with your permission, may I start my presentation?
Dr. Shah is asking your permission.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, you can, you can
Yes.
go, you can read your paper. But may I know,
This is a paper on letters of
let me, actually, actually,
It is a very lengthy paper, but I am listening from the proceedings from the morning session. So I think my paper, and I will read from some places. Tradition, culture, and religion.
Dr. Ashraf Saab, there is some problem with
India
voice.
and-
Can others unmute their mics, please? So that we are able to listen to Professor Elim Ashraf Saab.
Yes. For this reason, I am not using my camera as well, because it will problem after using this. India enumerated as one of the
Okay, you go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
India enumerated as one of the seats of Isis during medieval times. Its Ayurveda, Charak, and Vedanta were famous world over. During the centuries between 11 to 13 AD, India got popular with the title of Dome of Islam, ya Qubbatul Islam. These Sufis in general and Chishti Sufis in particular have played an important role in strengthening the medieval Indian society and culture. The ethos, if replicated in modern times, can sort the clashes and differences among different groups, religions. Yes. Yes. Hello. Hello. You continue.
I request all the
Participant
speakers
has
regarding this.
their mic so that problem is in voice. Yes. In modern times, clashes and differences among different groups, cultures in society. Society needs them as their teaching can go a long way in meeting the challenges of the 21st century. Hazrat Nizamuddin Aula, the Sufi activist, a scholar of Quran and Hadith, a humanitarian who spent most of his time in the services of mankind, poor, distressed and people of the lower strata of society, was popularly known as Mehboob Ilahi. He believed in non-violence and to give back good in place of evil, as his real mission was one of equality and social justice, without concerns of caste, creed, and religion. Through his propagated ideas of brotherhood, he was successful in promoting peace and amity in the society. Sufis promoted humanitarian ethos so that the universal brotherhood can flourish. Indian intellectuals and thinkers have shown us the path for the integration of our society from the early medieval period, and this possible integration can be understood through the following intermingled traditions like that of Satyapir, which involve veneration of Hindu saints by Muslim and Muslim peers by Hindus. It resulted in evolution of common tradition of worshipping Satyapir or a true saint. The integration of Islamic and Hindu ideas through Bhakti movement reached its zenith in the teachings of Guru Nanak, which eventually led to the evolution of Sikhism as a separate religion under Guru Arjun Singh. The fifth Sikh Guru, Sikhism combines the best of the both Hinduism and Islam. Many of the concepts and practices are those of both Islam. God is one and the only truth. He has many names and powers and can teach prayers, good works, selfless service, longing, and devotion, not only in direct works, selfless service, direct communication with God as in Islam, but also with the help of a guru. With interest in religious tolerance and in comparative study of world major religions, Akbar, the greatest of the would be acceptable in this place. Or to he was an eclectic containing the good points of all religions, a combination philosophy recognizes no prophets and its chief exponent. The Deen-e-Ilahi was a free, fine there someone among these may be counted as the source of our Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb.
Dr. Saab,
And
there
these
is some
communities-
problem with your net because we are not able to listen or decipher what you say, sir. Because there's some problem. Interconnectivity, I think. So internet
Are
connectivity.
you connected?
There's a problem with your connection, connectivity. Because we are not able to listen what you want to say, sir. So maybe there's some problem of it. But still, if we can just give the gist, that will be better. Then we can definitely publish your article and everything will, article is always based on research, we know that. So if you just give the gist, because of the connectivity problem, we are not able to listen. Please. Okay. आपका म्यूट हो गया सर अशरफ साहब आपका म्यूट हो गया कनेक्टिविटी का प्रॉब्लम है कुछ थोड़ा ठीक है तो तब तक हम जब तक आपका थोड़ा सा ये कनेक्शन ठीक हो जाए तो मैं डॉक्टर साहब आप दूसरे जो है पेपर प्रेजेंटर को डॉक्टर ऋषि साहब बुला सकते हैं
Our next speaker is Dr. Ashraf Amin and Ms. Ujala Amin. You are invited to present your paper within the stipulated time. I think it will be 7 minutes because we have 9. We have 10 speakers. They have completed their presentation within 7 minutes. Please.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir? Rashid, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
With your kind permission, I will be,
please.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So I will be finishing up within
my
the stipulated time.
Sir, my presentation is.
Let you go for after that after this presentation.
Okay, sir. May I go, sir?
Yes, we'll start.
Okay, with permission, I'll be sharing screen with you, and I will be finishing up in within that stipulated time, inshallah. So I would like to know from the chairperson that is the screen, visible to you?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, Professor Rashid, sir, is the screen visible, sir?
Yes. So you start.
Okay.
You start now.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So the title, as is visible on the screen, is Revisiting Socio-Religious Harmony, a Study.
Yes. Your voice is not now loud.
There's a problem, Ashraf Saab, with your voice. We are not able to listen.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, now you are audible.
Okay. Religion, we know, is the lifeblood of the Indian subcontinent. Unlike Western countries, secularism never took deep roots in this part of the world. Religion has always been the basis of ethics, love, and compassion here. In India, the acknowledgement of religious pluralism is thought not as abnormal. Civilizations coexist as systems of multiculturalism. The remarkable trait in society, especially during medieval times, was that the Hindus, Muslims, Christians have lived together successfully. They have contributed to the development of the Indian civilization, remain eager for cooperation, coexistence, and dialogue. So, because we have to visit that revolution, the points of the common people who were marginalized by the in a way, and the philosophy put by Shankaracharya was not easily to be understood commoners. So they in response to that, complex philosophical, teachings of Hinduism as portrayed by Shankaracharya and many other, and also the ritualistic, so in some santas, emerged who make, a religion intelligible to the common folks and to the common men who couldn't understand complex philosophical, tenets. So some bhaktas and santas emerged who promoted bhakti, that means then unconditional love towards God. So both these bhaktas, cooperated with some Sufi wanderers of among the Muslim communities, and then we knew that there was a new culture emerged up, and that culture we know that promoted peace, harmony, and mutual coexistence among the people, the fraternity and the spirit of brotherhood, prevailed. So then we see that apart from those Hindus and bhaktas like Ravi, Pipa Singh, or like the Kabir, or Guru Nanak himself, or Ramanuja, these bhaktas, along with some, we have Salman Kashani, or we can have a glaring example of Ibadat Khana, set by Akbar, and who gave the space to everybody to discuss and preach his ideas of their religions, like, for example, okay? And then we may, then when we move on, that the legacy was taken up by the philosophers or the thinkers like Mahatma Gandhi, who said that Hinduism not an exclusive religion. In it, there is room for worship of all the prophets of the world. So he was giving a spot and a moment of adaptation for other religions to mingle with the Indian, culture and bring up a new culture of harmony and cooperation. But unfortunately, there have been tragedies that are really marring that spirit of that communal harmony in the current times. You can see visible on your screen. I won't repeat the things for you, that they are really, heart-rending for all of us. And yes, there are some elements that are really, demolishing that's fanaticism. And fanaticism is promoted both by the religious preachers for their own ends, for their own selfish ends, and for and by the political, leaders and the political who at the time of the elections, fan the rivalries among the people. And apart from that, there are some hatred and grudges. We are not being able to come out of some historical anecdotes that have happened in the past. We are not able to forgive each other. That's a tragedy, because we are still living in the past, and those grudges and hatreds are there, who are, not making way for dialogue and all these things. Okay. Then we see that the manipulation of religious processions by the political leaders is an old phenomenon, but the show of strength at the time of religious festivals in our times has become a new behavioral pattern. When a procession of a particular community passes through an area of other community, attempts are made to shout slogans or tease them. This often creates a communal clash. So I will be coming with the gist of this paper, that I can't help quoting Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. He has warned that Hinduism has not sufficiently profited from her experience of Islam. It's quite true. The reform movement, such as those of Chaitanya, Kabir, and Nanak, were influenced by the spirit of Hinduism could easily have learned more. Ignorance of other faiths is the mother of injustice. Faith is the mother of injustice and error. Some of the practices of the uncultured Muslims blinded the eyes of the Hindus to the ideals of Islam. While there is much for Islam to learn from a sympathetic understanding of Hinduism, there is also much for Hinduism to learn from Islam. For one thing, Hinduism must learn to be less uncompromising and more emphatic in its denunciation of imperfect conception of God and cruder modes of worship. So I will be coming with the ending note. We should know that whenever external forces casted an eye over our rich spiritual civilization, we stood united to oppose the evil eye. It is recorded that when the European powers entered India, the challenge was Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan in the south. There is a record in the House of Commons debates that whenever Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan waged any war, the prayer was offered in all temples and mosques Obviously, there was no confrontation at the grassroots levels. It is a spectacular example of the composite culture. So the conflicts have taken up only for political reasons, and dialogue was there all along the history for enriching the civilization in this country. Thank you very much. Thank you, IOS. Thank you, Professor Marazi. Thank you, Rashid sir, being my mentors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Dr.
Next ko bulaiye.
Yes, our third speaker is Sajjad Ahmed Kumar and Dr. Rafiq Hujum. Sajjad Ahmed Kumar is a research scholar, Department of Islamic Studies, Baba Ghulam Badshaw University, Ajuri. And Dr. Rafiq Hujum is assistant professor, Department of Islamic Studies of the same university. The title of their paper is Religious Pluralism and Peaceful Coexistence and Islamic Perspective. Yes, Sajjad Kumar and anyone who is going to present the paper. You have 7 minutes, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Respected Chair, with your permission, I'm starting here the presentation as the time is very limited to complete it. So I'm Sajjad Ahmed Kumar on behalf of my own self and on behalf of my respected teacher, Dr. Rafiq Hujum.
With the permission of Chair Dr. Abdurrashid Barsab, so I request all the presenters to make their presentations within 5 to 6 minutes because of the positive time, and we have 12 degree session as well. The session has run late, so please.
Yes.
Present your findings within 5-6 minutes, please.
Yes.
Because we will be publishing your full papers later on. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Sama, research scholar, religious studies, Punjab University, Patiala. His topic is rights of the minorities and their protection in an Islamic state. Mohammed Hussain, please have your presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes. First of all, I present before you the greetings of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. With the permission of the president of this session, I would like to present my paper in simple Urdu language. I have written it in English language, but for the lack of time, I would like to present it briefly in Urdu, simple Urdu language. Sir, अक़म के हुकूक़ का जो मामला है ये मौजूदा दौर में एक बर्निंग टॉपिक रहा है और इस पर डिस्कशंस होते रहे हैं और ये बात समझी जाती रही है कि माइनॉरिटीज़ राइट्स जो है ये 20th सेंचुरी या मॉडर्न एज की पैदावार है और इस सिलसिले में इंटरनेशनल जो कन्वेंशंस हुए हैं या डिक्लेरेशंस हैं उसको बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस दी जाती है। लेकिन अगर हिस्टोरिकली देखा जाए तो इस्लाम ने माइनॉरिटीज़ की जो राइट्स हैं वो बहुत पहले 1400 साल पहले तो वाज़े कर चुके थे। ऐसे तो मॉडर्न एज में सबसे पहले माइनॉरिटी को डिस्कस किया गया 1814 में 1814 में वियना में ज्यूज़ के राइट्स के सिलसिले में, लेकिन बाकायदा इसको माइनॉरिटीज़ का जो है एक पार्ट बनाया गया उनके राइट्स को 1950s में और फिर उसके बाद इसको एक लीगल फ्रेमवर्क दिया गया 1992 में UN डिक्लेरेशन ऑन द राइट्स ऑफ पर्सन बिलोंग टू नेशनल और एथिक रिलीजियस एंड लिंग्विस्टिक माइनॉरिटीज़ के नाम से ये UN डिक्लेरेशन था जो 7 आर्टिकल्स पर और इसके ज़रिए से दुनिया भर में जो माइनॉरिटीज़ हैं उनके राइट के तहफ़्फ़ुज़ की ज़मानत मांगी गई थी। लेकिन अब ये कितनी इनका तहफ़्फ़ुज़ हो रहा है, इनका प्रोटेक्शन कितना हो रहा है और कितने इनके राइट्स दिए जा रहे हैं, ये आज भी एक डिस्कशन का टॉपिक है। इस्लामिक स्टेट या इस्लाम आज एक अर्निंग टॉपिक बना हुआ है, ख़ास तौर से जो इलाके में अभी चेंजिंग आई है 1-2 महीने में। इसकी रोशनी में एक इस्लामी स्टेट के तहत माइनॉरिटीज़ के राइट्स क्या होंगे, उन राइट्स का जानना और उस पर डिस्कस करना बहुत ज़रूरी है ताकि दुनिया डर और खौफ से निकल करके हकीकत में ये समझ सके कि इस्लामी स्टेट किस तरह से माइनॉरिटीज़ के राइट्स का ख्याल करती है और उसको प्रोटेक्ट करती है। और ऐसी भी कोई बात नहीं है कि ये इस्लामिक स्टेट कोई नई बात है। तकरीबन 1000 से 1200 साल तक ये दुनिया में इस्टेब्लिश रही है और उसके तहत مائنارٹیز نے اپنی زندگیاں گزاری ہیں، اپنی کلچر کو، اپنی لینگویج کو اور اپنی آئیڈینٹی کو بچایا ہے، اور اس بچانے میں اسلامک اسٹیٹ کا بہت بڑا رول بھی رہا ہے۔ سب سے پہلے مائنارٹیز کی رائٹس کی جو بات ہمیں ملتی ہے اسلامک ہسٹری میں، وہ میثاق مدینہ کے ذریعے سے، جی چارٹر آف مدینہ جاتا ہے، اس میں مائنارٹیز ایک طرح سے کہہ لیں کہ اس میں ان کے رائٹس کو کلیئر کیا گیا تھا، جس کے پوائنٹس میں آپ کے سامنے 2-4 بتا دیتا ہوں اس میثاق مدینہ کے بارے میں۔ دا سیکورٹی فرام نان مسلم ممبرز کو میں واضح کر دینا چاہتا ہوں، وہ ٹرم ہے مائنارٹیز کی۔ اسلامک شریعہ میں مائنارٹیز یا اقلیت کا کوئی لفظ نہیں ملتا ہے، اس کے لیے جو ٹرم یوز کی گئی ہے وہ اہل الذمہ کی ٹرم ہے، اور یہ بڑی میننگ فل ہے، اس کو ہمیں سمجھنا چاہیے۔ یہ کوئی گالی یا ڈگنیٹی کو ہرٹ کرنے کے لیے لفظ استعمال نہیں کیا گیا ہے۔ مشہور عربک لنگوسٹکس ابن منظور نے لسان عرب میں اس کی ڈیفینیشن جو دی ہے وہ یہ ہے کہ سمی اہل ذمۃ ذمۃ لدخول فی المسلمین و امانہم۔ People of Zimma are called Zimmi and are so called because they have entered into a pledge and peace treaty with Muslims۔ پھر آگے مزید ایکسپلین کرتے ہوئے وہ لکھتے ہیں کہ الذمۃ ہی الامان۔ Zimma means giving protection. This is the reason why Muahid is called Zimmi. It is because it is lent to him on the basis of jizya collected for him۔ جو اہل الذمہ ہوتے ہیں وہ 2 طرح کے ہوتے ہیں، ایک جو ذمہ ہوتے ہیں یا مائنارٹیز ہوتے ہیں جو کسی ایگریمنٹ کے ذریعے سے اسلامک اسٹیٹ میں ایسیمیلیٹ ہوتے ہیں، اس میں شامل ہو جاتے ہیں۔ تو ایگریمنٹ میں جس بات کا تذکرہ ہوتا ہے، جن چیزوں پر ایگریمنٹ ہوتا ہے، اس ایگریمنٹ کو فالو کرنا اور اس کو ماننا اور اس کو امپلیمنٹ کرنا اسلامک اسٹیٹ کی رسپانسبلٹی ہوتی ہے، اس کو وائلیٹ نہیں کر سکتے ہیں، اور ان کو جو ہے وہ معاہد کہا جاتا ہے اس اسلامی اصطلاح میں۔ اور دوسری اصطلاح جو ہے وہ ہے مفتوحین کی، یعنی وہ لوگ جن سے جنگ ہوئی اور جنگ کے بعد اس پر مسلمانوں کو غلبہ مل گیا اور اس کے بعد وہ اسلامی ریاست کے جو ہے وہ پارٹ بن گئے، تو ان کے لیے تھوڑا سا کچھ الگ رائٹس ہوتے ہیں جو اسلام نے کلیئرلی مینشن کر دیے ہیں۔ یہاں پر میں جو جنرل رائٹس ہیں مائنارٹیز کے وہ میں بتا دیتا ہوں۔ سب سے پہلی چیز اور سب سے قیمتی جو چیز ہے، پریشیس تھنگ ہے، وہ رائٹ ٹو لائف ہے۔ یہ بات کلیئر ہے کہ اسلام نے ہر انسان کی جان کی عزت اور ریسپیکٹ کا بہت خیال کیا ہے، اور قرآن نے کہا ہے کہ ایک بھی شخص کیا اگر قتل ہو بغیر بدلے میں قتل کیا جائے گا، اس کو کسی طرح کی چھوٹ نہیں ملے گی۔ اسی طریقے سے مال کا تحفظ، پراپرٹی، ایسٹس اور جو بھی اس کی بلانگنگس ہیں وہ حقوق میں سے ہیں۔ ایک حدیث میں اللہ کے رسول صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے فرمایا ہے الا لا يحل آل المعاہدین الا بحقها۔ Listen, it is to touch who have signed a treaty with us the right to take what is legally due to it۔ اسی طرح سے مائنارٹیز کے جو پرسنل لاز ہیں ان سب کا پروٹیکشن بھی اسلامی ریاست کی ذمہ داری ہوتی ہے، ان کے رائٹس کو دینے کی ذمہ داری ہوتی ہے۔ ان کے پلیسز، ورشپ کے جو پلیسز ہیں، ان کے مقدس جو مقامات ہیں، ان تمام کی حفاظت اور پروٹیکشن اسلامی ریاست کی ذمہ داری ہوتی ہے۔ کچھ جنرل چیزیں میں آپ کے سامنے پڑھ کر کے اپنی بات کو پھر کنکلوڈ کر دیتا ہوں۔ جو پوائنٹس خاص ہیں اس سلسلے میں، جو امپورٹنٹ چیزیں ہیں مائنارٹی رائٹس کے کانٹیکسٹ میں اس کو انگلش میں جو میں نے لکھ رکھا ہے وہ پڑھ دیتا ہوں۔ Performing religious ritual and expressing identity in public places are permissible for minorities in their society and in jurisprudence books. Minorities have exempted from armed services. The defense of the country is responsibility of Muslims. The reason is that the defense of an ideological state can be done only by those who follow its ideology. Moreover, following the ethics of war in the battle is compulsory, which can be carried out by its followers. Minorities only can participate in war expenses, and that is jizya, which collected from them. Soft behavior will be shown in collecting jizya. If they could not pay it, their properties will not be harmed. They have equal rights to run their businesses. They have right to express good things of their religion. They will not be compelled to accept any religion. Education system will be equal for all, but minority have right to get their religious education in separate. Exempt some key, except some key posts, they have right to become part of the government services. All the above rights, minorities will enjoy them because Islam grants them, not person or any institution gives it. If a neighbor country deprives Muslim minority rights, Islamic State cannot deprive its non-Muslim from their rights in revenge. इस पेपर का जो
Please conclude now.
जी कंक्लूजन में ये बता रहा हूँ कि ये जो वर्ल्ड स्टेज पर डिस्कशन हो रही है माइनॉरिटी राइट्स के सिलसिले में, ख़ास तौर से इस्लामिक स्टेट्स के पर्सपेक्टिव में, इस सिलसिले में ये बात क्लियरली समझनी चाहिए दुनिया को कि अगर किसी इलाके के लोग अपने ऊपर इस्लामी निज़ाम को कायम करने की परमिशन देते हैं तो दुनिया को ये राइट नहीं है कि ज़बरदस्ती उनके ऊपर अपने सिस्टम को या अपने निज़ाम को मुसल्लत करे, बल्कि इस बात का मौका दिया जाना चाहिए कि जो इस्लाम ने माइनॉरिटीज़ के राइट्स दिए हैं उन राइट्स को वो इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं, इस बात पर दुनिया को फोकस करना चाहिए। इस बात पर इस्लामी जो स्टेट दुनिया भर में जो लोग कहते हैं या कहीं पर किसी ने इसको इस्टेब्लिश करने का दावा किया है तो इस एतबार से उसको देखना चाहिए। ये खौफ खाने और डरने की चीज नहीं है। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Sama. Our next speaker is Abdul Majid Ganai. She is PhD scholar, Department of Religious Studies, Central University of Kashmir. His topic is rights of religious minorities in India through a constitutional perspective.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
With the permission of respected chairperson and Reverend my mentor, Professor Nasim Rafi Abadi sir, I would just presenting gist of my paper. So I will try my best to conclude it within this stipulated time. So as you know, you heard that the topic of my presentation is interreligious understanding in Indian context, dialogue, a way forward for the promotion of humanity. So whenever we think about the dialogue, a way forward, so let me introduce my paper and I would try to, draw your attention towards few things so that the whole paper can be just, understood in this context. So first of all, so let us think about these questions. That is interreligious understanding or dialogue a concern for pluralistic societies, especially in case of India. At the same time, promoting religious harmony and peace building measures are definitely vital, but how? At the same time, religious misconceptions and misunderstandings have at times resulted chaos and conflicts in the society. So, is it really a concern? Now, actually, the need of the hour is how to bridge the gap. And an idea of religious coexistence, cooperation, and universal brotherhood, is it really a yardstick for the promotion of humanity? So when we are trying to ponder on these questions, then we actually come across certain things. We know some sort of plurality even in the cosmos, even in the individuals, groups, communities, tribes, ethnicities, and cultures, and even in at the same time, we know the Indian civilization, which is even older, more than 2000 BCE. So at the same time, in contemporary India, where the major religions are Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, and even some other faiths as well. What actually we see in contemporary India even and in the civilizations in the past that there have been some unity in the diversity. So interreligious interactions through the perspective of dialogue is a concern of our pluralistic social setup or societies in general. So then when we think about those lines, so we can just come across two important terms which are interreligious interactions, rather interfaith dialogue and interreligious understanding. So scholars have tried to define these terms as we know for interfaith dialogue they say that it tends to focus on similarities, whereas interreligious dialogue takes into account both differences and similarities among religions. But try to understand this. this means that the dialogue between the followers of different faith traditions would be a more correct expression than interfaith dialogue, because it is individuals of faith who engage with each other, not entire faiths. However, the term interfaith dialogue is already in widespread use to meaningful dialogue between followers of different faiths. And so we will use it in this sense also. So, what actually we mean by interfaith or interreligious dialogue is? So, we can define it simply as a discussion, a dialogue, or a conversation between the members or groups of different religions or ethnicities. So, in this way, it becomes a discourse that takes place between, religious leaders having some specialty in their faiths. Through dialogue, scholars, leaders, and eminent people of various religions rather than faiths sit together to address each other to develop in an understanding of different religious traditions. Now, if we are really serious or sincere towards dialogue, then we must keep some objectives in our mind before going for the dialogue or for the successful dialogue process. For example, we must try, it should be in our mind that we are aimed to bridging the gap between the people of vibrant cultures with a perspective to vindicate the interreligious understanding among different faiths, to develop strong bonds on the principles of mutual understanding. Even despite the differences in faiths, beliefs, practices, peace building measures should be our folks. At the same time, the common cause of interreligious dialogue is to gather the followers of diverse faiths and make a worthwhile contribution uh, to interreligious harmony and coexistence. But the $1 million question which is before us is how to achieve these goals. Now look at the diagram. This diagram, which depicts which symbolizes even the religious symbols, and it looks like that we need a solution that will accommodate each and every religious tradition in our society. And when we talk about to accommodate each and everybody, each and every faith in our society, then we come across a word that is religious pluralism, a concept, a phenomenon. So if we just try to understand this in a very brief, religious pluralism broadly constructed is a response. So for the religious pluralism, to promote this, we need to understand few basic things, few basic factors even. For example, we need to understand the collective recognition. By collective recognition, actually what we mean by this recognition. This recognition must be on the basis of equality. There must be recognition of the other communities and interactions based on equality. This is a fundamental prerequisite that can't be overlooked. Otherwise, recognition and trust would be eliminated, and the other communities' existence would be, seen as a non-existent. So consequently, there would be no recognition among parties, but rather one dominant party giving orders to be obeyed by the other party, enforcing its will on the other party and rejecting any opposition to its positions. In this situation, there could be no way to establish trust between the two parties. So our focus must be collective recognition. And the second, by collective recognition, we mean to promote the rights of minorities. At the same time, we try to build a relationship building measures. And that should be based on the mutual respect. The mere recognition of the others outside of one's religious community is not sufficient. Rather, each party should respect the other, along with this religion, along with their religion, faith.
हाँ भाई वैलिडिटी में आइएगा
Sorry for the interruption, please.
अब जरा आप डॉक्टर साहब टाइम बहुत कम है हमारे पास 15 मिनट रह गए इससे
please conclude now.
Sure.
Within 1 minute.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I'm just concluding. So with this, we need to bring, a value judgment is very important factor for the successful dialogue process, and as it is in your screen. And now, a few things which I wanted to, just highlight is for the dialogue, successful dialogue or a dialogue as a way forward, we need to consider the multifaceted reality of religions. We need to focus on dialogue at the intellectual and academic level, at ground level, spiritual level, and the tolerance also. And to conclude, let me read out for you that interreligious dialogue in the Indian context is enrooted in both social and religious this phenomenon. One hand, social institutions have to pay attention to put the stakeholders on the table. On the other hand, academic institutions have to provide support to them so that the true meaning of pluralism would be understood at the grassroots level. Through a dialogue, mutual respect and religious coexistence must be the primary discourse for the dialogue initiatives. Inter-community relations at the social level and religious tolerance are key fields to focus on for the promotion of
Thank you.
humanity. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ganai. Our next speaker is Dr. Mohammed Habib, Department of Religious Studies, Punjab University. His topic is Islam and interreligious.
डॉक्टर रशीद साहब हबीब साहब ने
Yes.
पहले ही अपना पेपर पढ़ा है
Yes, yes, yes,
और
yes.
नेक्स्ट स्पीकर
Oh,
बोल रहा है
thank you. Next is Ashok Hussain Hanjam and Dr. Firdaus Ahmad Sufi. The title of their topic is Place and Promotion of Interreligious Understanding, with special reference to various major schools of philosophy. Yes, Ashok Hussain. Please, within 4 minutes, please do the gist of your paper because of the past of time and the coming of the military military session.
What the chairperson of the session, Professor Abdul Rashid Bhatt, respected all other dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and a very good afternoon. This is Ashok Hussain, and I am, with the permission of this chair, I am going to present the paper, Place and Promotion of Interreligious Understanding, with special reference to various major philosophy. Today, when the world has attained a great technological progress and scientific achievements, it is disconcerting to say that the people are making disputes in the name of religion. Thousands of people are killed, nations have been divided, and even the holy centers of worship have been demolished in the name of religion. World is the birthplace of many faiths and has accommodated and nourished multiple religions. It has provided a common roof to major religions for their sustenance and growth. The intricate mosaic of diverse faiths, beliefs, traditions, and languages in many countries is indeed amazing. In the modern world, people are running towards the materialism and remain eager to live a materialistic life. In fact, this approach of people has given birth to a number of conflicts throughout the world. And in every morning, we comfort same sad news regarding violence, crime, wars, disasters, and many more. Even we are not in a position to recall a single day without a repeat of something terrible happening somewhere. In this situation, education is the only weapon which we can use to change the violence-based societies into peaceful and harmonious societies throughout the world. There are various agencies of education, and religion institution is one among them. India is a multi-religious country where interreligious understanding is very important to maintain peace and harmony. The effect of globalization processes, international travel and migration, the fast expanding capacities of communication, tensions amongst diverse ethnic and religious groups, the realities of war, worldwide threats of terrorism, and the grave consequences of global climate change have all highlighted the urgent need to deepen the cooperation and understanding between the cultures, religion, civilizations. Multi-stakeholders partnerships need to be developed to respond effectively to these global crises, enabling the shared engagement of very diverse constituencies. The history is witness that many intercultural and interreligious initiatives have and activities that interreligious organizations, religious communities,
Mr. Ashik, please go now your conclusion. Your conclusion. Give your conclusion of the paper.
Okay, sir. In order to conclude, it is clear that the racial and religious distinctions are man-made. In the eyes of God, all human beings are one, regardless of their community or nation. If all human beings resolve their internal differences and serve to the God, all differences will be vanished. We will feel that entire world is our home and entire humanity is same. Once the hearts are united, the existence of differences will completely vanish from this world. Undoubtedly, the religious communities have a privileged appeal. They are trusted institutions with vast human resources network, which could readily inspire peace and understanding within and across their readily communities. They can provide social cohesion and spiritual support to alleviate the pain and suffering you should in forgiveness and reconciliation. Thus, if religion plays a part of conflict, it may also become a part of its resolution. Since peace is the goal of interreligious understanding, it is important to realize that peace is not easily achieved and maintained. It is somewhat like climbing Everest. Peace does not occur in a day, and there are obstacles as interpret travelers struggle up the path to heights where the human spirit may soar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranjan. One more speaker is Dr. Muid Zafar, Assistant Professor, Department of Religious Studies. His topic is interreligious understanding in Kashmir during the Sultanate period. Yeah. Yes, Professor Marazi, shall we go for other two which you mentioned here?
Yeah, if Dr. Muid Zafar is not present, then there is another Dr. Mr. Javed Saab. He is there. Muid Saab is there.
Muid Saab is there.
You please invite him. Yeah, I know.
Yes, please, Muid Saab. Start your
with the permission of chair, I would come to the conclusion of my paper because it's too long and I know there is the paucity of time and it cannot be completed within 2 minutes. So I will give a conclusion of my paper. As all of us know that my topic was interreligious understanding in Kashmir during the Sultanate period. And our Sultanate period starts in the 14th century and ends in the at the closure of the 16th century. And this period is actually considered as the formative period of Islam in Kashmir. And therefore, whatever has been done by our elders in this formative period of Islam, it became a plinth of our thought, particularly the plinth of the Kashmiri Muslims. Particularly the plinth of the Kashmiri Muslim scholars who actually discussed the advent of Islam and gave different theories. We have 3 prominent theories, and I will just sum up what I want to say in my paper. That 3 theories which have been there. The first and the foremost theory which has been discussed by both the Hindus and the Muslims of Kashmir, that is the theory that Islam came to Kashmir and a new culture evolved during the Sultanate period. And it was actually a syncretic culture. And this theory has been debated along and most of the scholars have rebutted this theory. But one element is there which I want to highlight here is that if there was no syncretization in Kashmir, one thing was very much clear, that there was tolerance, and tolerance comes when there is the understanding of the other. No doubt Muslims were at the helm of the affairs in the formative period in Kashmir, but there was understanding of such a level that we will never find that there is coercion as far as the religion is concerned, because Sufis were there at the helm of affairs who were spreading the message of Allah. And at the same time, we also see that there was a sort of coexistence. Muslims, Hindus, they were living peacefully with each other. So if this theory, and if you see the crux of this theory, it's that there was the understanding of the other. Muslims were ruling, but they were understanding the sensibilities of Hindus also. The second theory, which has been very much debated and has been propounded by a great historian of Kashmir, his name is Professor Ishaq Ahmad Khan. So his theory is Islamic acculturation, that there was the acculturation, cultures were assimilating and new things were coming to the fore. And it was because of Islam which came to Kashmir. There was actually a transition from the Hindu past to the Muslim present in those centuries. But this theory also speaks about the tolerance. You will feel that when Ishaq Khan Sahab, he discusses the Islamic acculturation, he had tried to show that there was tolerance and they were understanding the other. And all of them, either the syncretic theory or the Islamic acculturation theory, both of them point towards the reign of Sultan Zainul Abidin, who ruled Kashmir from he ruled Kashmir up to from 1420 to 1470. As Madaris histories for Muslim scholars who promoted Islam there. So this theory also is based on the understanding of the other. And the last theory, the third theory, which is very famous in the sociologist circle, and that theory is the social liberation theory, wherein it is said that Islam was able to take care of the poor and those who were oppressed. So in that, as far as that theory is concerned, there is nothing actually special with the religion or conversion. But one thing is there, that Islam came to Kashmir as a liberating, as was the mission of the Sayyids, who came able to do that successfully without raising eyebrows from the other. And this theory also speaks, as Professor Dabla, a great
Sociologist.
spoken about this theory. But it shows we understand each other, they were respecting the sentiments of each other. And that is the reason that we see that after this certain period, we find that Kashmir started moving towards, or there was a transition towards Islam at a faster rate, and Kashmir changed, or Kashmir left its Hindu past and adopted a new vista, or he tried to adopt the new custom, culture, and civilization, and that was done successfully. So I conclude
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Munir Zafar. Thank you.
On the points, and I pay my regards to all professors and teachers of mine. Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Gazi, shall we hear or accommodate the other two?
There are two small papers, Mir and Professor G.N. Khaki. If they are present, they can just give the gist of the paper. And second is by Miss Era Leave and Rifat Khan. So just for 5 minutes, 5 minutes more, then they can give the gist of the program.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Javed. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are right.
Just with
is the Darash. I will just briefly introduce first Dara Shikoh. I will tell something about his life. Dara Shikoh was.
Please do the gist. We are not. We don't need the history. Please do the gist of your findings.
Oh, okay, sir.
Because we have very little time actually.
Okay, sir. I will directly come on the findings of my paper. As far as the religious model of Dara Shikoh is concerned, his understanding of his interreligious understanding is concerned. We can as he believed on the universe, all religions possess the element of truth. Especially, he talked about Hinduism, that Hinduism Dara's theosophy, as Dara was strong believer of this Tawheed, and from the Quranic perspective and from this traditions of Prophet Sallallahu, he tried to prove his points of what was his arguments regarding the monotheistic beliefs that are present in other religious traditions, especially in Hinduism, which he tried to prove from the primary sources. In that context, we can say that Quranic monotheism in the principle of unity and plurality was the cornerstone of Dara's theosophy. Religious toleration is the another feature of Dara's this understanding, or the model of his religious understanding was this toleration of religions. As he was the Sufi and he belonged to the Qadriya order of Sufism, the liberal teachings of Sufis had played a significant role, and the pantheistic philosophical views of Sufis such as Mullah Badakhshi and some other prominent Sufis of his times, including some Hindus who were the Bhakti, who were the followers of Bhakti teachings, like the Baba Lal Das of Hindu thought has influenced much, and and their teachings had also contributed a lot in shaping his religious thought. His overall approach was inclusive. He vehemently rejected the religious exclusivism of Orthodox Muslim ulama, in view that it is dangerous for heterogeneous society like India. Besides other factors, the factor of political motivation behind his religious thought could not be denied. Indeed, his religious views were severely criticized by religious doctors of both the communities, especially by Orthodox faction of Islam. The criticide was genuine and constructive in nature on large extent. But what is more important here, that is his unique effort of trying to find connection between Vedantic philosophical ideals with that of Sufi equivalents, logically and rationally. The multicultural color of Indian society and the frequent disturbances for minority Mughal kings created by majority Hindu subjects made it acute requirement of the time to deal with, which Dara Shikoh tried to the Dara Shikoh deal through his approach of mitigating the religious differences by just reconciling the ideas in order to make Muslims aware about to introduce the Hindu ideals to Muslims, so that the ignorance what he believed that the enmity among Muslims related to Hindus or the infidels is their ignorance about the religious beliefs of them. So he tried to make aware them through by translating the main Hindu texts like Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Upanishad under the title of Sire Akbar, and finally he came with a book, Majma ul Bahrain, in which he tried to reconcile Hinduism and Islam on those genre, often ignoring the Orthodox sections of both the communities due to fervent of their externalities or the religious fanaticism.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Our last speaker, they are co-authors of the presentation, Miss Arula and Rifat Khan. Interreligious marriages and their impact. Yes, you can have also the private presentation within 3 minutes. Please just.
Sir.
देखो उन्होंने बोलना भी उनको ऑनलाइन जोड़ दें, उन्होंने बोलना भी है देखते हैं अभी बुलवाएंगे वो अपने साथ में बैठा स्टेज पे, या तो ऑनलाइन देखो करा दीजिए या फिर आ जाओ जल्दी आ रहे हैं फिर हाल में भाई ये सारा कुछ खत्म करके लंच करना है.
You may go ahead.
please.
Madam Farah, you may go ahead.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. Nora.
Okay.
हाँ. अरे जल्दी यार, इधर कितनी दूर है? उन्हें पता नहीं था वो डिटेक्टिव, उन्हें पता ही नहीं था उन्होंने बोलना उसमें जलाल साहब को.
Ira, you need. Yeah, I need help, Rifat.
So you need not to present the screen. You just read it like that.
Good afternoon, sir. My author Rifat Khan and I Ira Leo, are going to present our paper on interreligious marriage and its current scenario. I'm going to present the introductory part, and rest of the part will be discussed by Rifat Khan. Okay, my introductory part is: marriage is an important and universal social institution of society. It is a sacred bond between two souls, a man and a woman. Marriage is socially organized by two families, and it is followed by certain rituals which both the persons obey. But the question, which is a burning issue in today's society, is about interreligion marriage. Means when two persons of different religion wants to marry each other. It is really a concern which needs to be discussed in 21st century among young generation. In these papers, we highlighted the issues of interreligious marriages. Now, India is a country where people of every religion live together happily. Religion is the foundation stone on which the entire structure of plural society is built. The concept of caste system and religious discrimination are like a curse on the way of India's progress. It is generally happened because of feeling of detest among religions. The ideological and social differences between the Hinduism and Muslim often result in communal tensions, riots, and conflict in the society. But in the present time, the mutual tension and conflict are politically inspired or evolved. Now, this type of couple has faced financial problems also because they did not get any help from their parents. It has been seen that most of the interreligious marriages are broken because of incompatibility. Now, over to you, Rifat.
Yes. Thank you so very much, Ira Leo. Very good afternoon to all of you. So I'll be taking the current scenario of interreligious marriages in view of the recent legal and court decisions. So, as my co-author has already discussed the social implications of interreligious marriages, and we all know that India, most marriages are governed by specific personal laws governing each religion. However, in circumstances when such marriages are between two persons of different religions, the Special Marriages Act become a mandate. It is definitely a step forward towards the liberal society, and most of the young generation today is mostly found receptive to the interreligious marriages. But then the real impediment is in altering the mindset of the elders in the family and the society. And the discourse around the marriage in India ceases to place adult individuals at the center, and it's the familial and the societal force that always play a role in deciding young people's future, thus complicating lives of young people who have decided to choose their partners. So, in view of the recent case in Kashmir, I will just give you a gist of that. When you know that a female from one community married a person of the other other community, and it was alleged that it was a forced conversion and it was retrieved to her parents after she deposed a statement in the court. And if reports are to be believed, she stated that she was being a major converted and married to a man with her own volition. And whatever the case may be, the dishonor was vanquished by the protesting family and community and vigilante groups by marrying her off to a man of their own community after just 2 days, while the matter was still under investigation. And so it was called for the sake of communal harmony, we can say legalities have been discarded. So then it's an established fact that religious communities in India oppose person minority whose it held that right to choice of a family is a fundamental right. Thus, person has a right to marry who they choose to and to live life on their own terms. And in case of Shifan Jahan versus Ashok AM, Supreme Court held that right to marry of a person of one's choice as a part of Article 21, stating that the Constitution protects the ability of each individual to pursue a way of life or faith in which he or she seeks to adhere to. So, in view of all the other high courts from Karnataka High Court, Allahabad High Court, all with a person of his own choice, irrespective of religion professed by them, is an integral and intrinsic part of right to life and personal liberty. And courts noted that interference in personal relationships a serious encroachment to right to freedom of choice to individuals. In High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, also in one of the cases of how granted protection to interfaith couples as guaranteed under Article 21 of the Constitution. And so, despite these clear rulings from courts that marriage is a matter of personal liberty, a law to curb unconstitutional and will not stand the court of law. Choosing life partner of their own choice might be viewed as a deviation by the society. Currently, various states are mulling laws to discourage interfaith marriages, mostly those involving women from majority community or for vested political interests by citing increasing instances of what we call as a conspiracy theory or law jihad, which is usually a terrible and a derogatory term, strengthening patriarchy, holding over the identity, sexuality, and agency. Recently, has seen that government of Uttar Pradesh has passed prohibition conversions of religious ordinances. The act has created conversion of marriage as one of the illegal. This patently unconstitutional and regressive law seeks to criminalize interreligious marriages by making them as to convert women. And Gujarat High Court, in case involving similar legislation, marriages cannot be considered criminal just because their parent society oppose and refuse their relationship. So the deep-rooted opposition in interreligious marriages has patriarchal roots, and that stop women from exercising their autonomy and placed under community and also to the harassment from vigilante group. So thus, at the altar of evasive free sacrifice of law, equality, and women. In times of ever-increasing polarization in society, liberating individuals from traditional requirements of religion and written by Article 16 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights is need of time. Instead of waiting for intervene marriages. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. It was the last paper of the session. And
इनको भी नहीं मिल रहा है
Please conclude कीजिए. We are
डॉक्टर साहब
having time.
अपना प्रेसिडेंट रिमार्क्स बना के फिर उसको conclude
so much importance for these papers. Promote more and more the interreligious dialogue and make it more practical and follow it practically, and also to ensure the peaceful coexistence, harmony in the society, and make the society really a unity in the diversity, as has been the heritage of our Sufis and of our religious scholars, of religious gurus, and religious men who guide us in the past, and also today are leading us in many ways. And I think all the 10 scholars who among them there were some authors who had worked hard and made this session successful and added a lot to the knowledge on the issues on the subject, and we wish them good. And so I thank the organizers who provided me opportunity to be with session and here these presentations, and I got myself benefited, and also thank the participants who heard patiently these presentations, and they were a lot for us because it made the sessions professional. Rajesh.
डॉक्टर साहब आवाज नहीं आ रही, ऑडिबल नहीं है आप.
That is what he wants.
Now I handed the section to, and I completed within 2 minutes my comment.
Okay.
We are already late. I completed my session.
Yes, complete.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for conducting this session so effectively, and we are thankful to the present paper presenters also. And you please complete your papers and send the papers ulama to proper understanding and what were the parameters of religious phenomenon in general and what insights we can get. Mahatma Ji, Ibn Hazm, Al-Biruni, and all others in our times like Rabindranath Tagore, Nehru, and on such how they accept a difference. Diana Eck says, quote, the encounter in a pluralistic society is not premised on achieving agreement, but achieving relationship. So we need to more and more to get relationships with our brethren belonging to other denominations, and that is more important than anything else. And in this whole process, there can be a great role Islam can play, as it has played in the past and medieval times. We know we have great people from Bhakti movement, as well as people like Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Baba Farid. And although this was the message that you have not only say, but you have to listen. We have to listen about other people, their problems, their grievances, and then we have to say. So that is very important, and that is dialogue. Kuch kahiye, kuch suniye. First listen, then say something. In the atmosphere of peace and security, there are more chances of religions to be understood by the people in their right perspectives. It is for the same reason that Islam laid much emphasis on peace and security. It directed Muslims that if the enemy is ready to go for peace and agreement even during the wars, whenever there were religious wars, Muslims should trust in God and accept the peace so that the atmosphere of war and hostility vanishes and all the ill effects and impediments coming in wake of war are avoided. So this has been a very important legacy. It is for the same reason that a famous USA scholar and former CIA official has acknowledged the Islamic approach towards its subject. Graham Fuller says about this culture, quote, it is a culture of profound intellectual, spiritual, cultural, and social thought, but it is also a culture currently rubbed raw, best not graciously provoked at the sensitive stage of in its development and when it feels under existence only, heighten its most atavistic and narrow aspects, sideline this for reform, and cause Muslims to circle the wagons, unquote. So it means that we just need to highlight those aspects of all the religions, including Islam, where much emphasis has been laid on the kalimat sawa, where we can meet to the commonalities and the similarities with these objectives, which we have been discussing for the last 2 days, as scholars from different parts of the world, they have deliberated on these subjects from different perspectives: Hindu perspective, Sikh perspective, Islamic perspective, and Christian perspective, and then the secular perspective as well, constitutional and legal perspective. Almost all the perspectives were applied in order to reach to some understanding, and we have reached to this understanding that we need dialogue. And Punjab has been the cradle of all these dialogical procedures and different type of campaigns. So secondly, we have reached to this conclusion: we need to continue this dialogue in future as well. So some understanding has dawned on all, starting from our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Alvidji, and then our Punjabi hosted this conference in such a nice way. We do know how this time has passed and how we were engaged in such a beautiful and engaging dialogue that we have reached to several conclusions, and we find that we are in a better place to understand each other. And this can be made, and one day we'll be able to live in a peaceful world, which is very much needed in this trouble-trodden world where no one is safe, and especially the human rights are also jeopardized. So I am very thankful to the university, and especially the Professor Arvindji, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the university, and Professor Ravinderji, and Professor Sandhu-ji, and all the authorities of the university who have just hosted this conference. And also, we always are looking forward in the Institute of Objective Studies. New Delhi is always looking forward such collaborations, and we hope that Punjab can be the best place for such type of collaboration in the future as well, as has been suggested by Professor Jamal Saab and others, that we can have some understanding core group members, or maybe some chapter, whatever is feasible, but whatever can be worked out by mutual consultations, and that can go a long way.
Thank you, Professor Marazi Sahab, for a very thoughtful and thought-provoking valedictory session. And I hope that those who presented their papers, they will take note of some of the points and try to improve their papers by including and developing those ideas which he has just now presented. Mr. Vice Chancellor, yesterday he emphasized that Guru Nanak Dev Ji always talked and thought about universality. Now that kind of universality which he saw that time and which he tried to cultivate has to be brought into our culture, and thereby strengthening our composite culture. This has been a general practice of the Institute of Objective Studies, that whenever we hold such a conference on a big scale, we come up with a resolution which spells out what we should do in order to promote the theme of the seminar. And now we have come up with a resolution which consists of 6 clauses. I will read them out. Maybe here and there I change a few words, but it is here in a typed form with me. I'm presenting it with your permission, sir. Resolution number 1: there should be regular programs on interreligious understanding of various places of Punjab, organized by the Institute of Objective Studies in collaboration with GGS Department of Religious Studies, Punjabi University, Patiala. Two, a special course should be included in the educational curricula to teach common core values of harmony, peace, and dialogue among Indian religions, strengthening understanding among various religions. Three, a committee comprising of scholars and academics should be formed by the Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi, and Department of Guru Gobind Singh Department of Religious Studies, Punjabi University, Patiala, to regularly monitor the pace of on inter-religious programs. Four, Punjabi University, Himachal University, and Chandigarh University should form a core group to carry on regular programs on interreligious dialogues in collaboration with the Institute of Objective Studies. Religious scholars, community leaders, and intellectuals from all the communities should be invited to the program. Five, GGS Department of Religious Studies, Punjabi universities should be made a nerve center to carry on such activities, and a core committee comprising of the representatives of these said universities participated in this conference should be formed to take ahead the programs on interreligious dialogue. Last but not the least is the resolution number 6. Urdu is the beloved daughter of Punjabi. Therefore, efforts should be made in collaboration with the Punjabi University to revive literary and cultural thought of Urdu in Punjab. Thank you. This is the resolution. Do you support?
We support it.
So it is. It has been supported by Professor Marazi and others who are
Professor
present,
Kaushik
who are
Sahib.
raising, and
These proposals you are also supporting.
and Professor Lindra Kaushik ji, the Honorable Registrar of this very illustrious university, and we had a very good present. We lived here in this in these buildings, surrounded by nature, all everywhere. It was all green, which had left a very pleasing effect on our on eyes, on our mind, and on our heart. And we look forward to visit you again and again, if you don't mind, sir. Thank you.
Afzal Sahib, just president's remarks.
Now, Professor Afzal Wani Sahab, who is from Guru Gobind Singh University, Indraprastha University, New Delhi, is here to make to give presidential remarks, and then Professor Narendra Kaushik ji will be here to present a vote of thanks. Thank you.
ये चेयर आप दे दो वही सब जरा ये तो कौन सा नहीं आप
resolution of
Professor Kaushik, worthy Registrar of the Punjabi University, Professor Jamaluddin, Director, Historical Studies, Institute of Objective Studies, Professor Hamidullah Marazi, Director of the Religious Studies, Central University, Kashmir, Professor Muhammad Habib, Head, Department of Religious Studies, Guru Gobind Singh Institute of Religious Studies, Punjabi University, Professor Janab Ataur Rahman, Administrator, Institute of Objective Studies, and dear friends. This is historical, and this is basically, I should say, demanding at the global level that at this juncture of human history, there is a need for a paradigm shift in many of the things, and one of them is the understanding of religions, understanding of faith, and demands of a faith from its people who believe in it. I think the main shift has to be that now the following of any faith should not be too much sentimental. It should be dominantly rational. It should be dominantly with respect to promoting this relationships, and purpose should be how to attain the basic objectives of the faith, and the purpose is not the subjugation of something, and the purpose is not finding the faults with others. The basic thing is to reach to the essence, that what is the essence of any faith, and what is the purpose of any tenets, rituals, and the philosophy, and there has to be a search for those things which unite. And there has to be an investigation into those things which make a faith, shift from attaining better. And that's the need is to get back to that purpose and to that essence of things, and to bring the humanity together, rather than getting to the extremes. And that's basically what is required, and that's true of, for example, when we see in environmental sciences, we talk of sustainable development. And even now in management, we talk of sustainable management. And in governance also, we talk of sustainable this governance. And in lawmaking, we talk of sustainability of the laws. So there is need for sustainability of thought as well, and sustainability of a faith as well. And when we look to that, then there is a need for looking to the spectrum rather than looking to only one thing, leading to the lopsided understanding of things. So when you put things in a spectrum, you find many things which are alike, which are bringing extremes together, and which are bringing things to real focus. And the pans of the balance are then put straight, so that the requirement is that we have to take our thought to that level. I may say that this is not new, as I believe that now there won't be any prophet there who will get revealed knowledge as directly revealed knowledge. It's the intellectuals who have to do it. And it's not, I will say in its true sense, it's not anything new. Because if you take in biblical tradition, if you take in this Quranic tradition, or if you take it in this part of the world, from time to time, period to period, different these prophets and avatars have come. What was the need? The need was that the people, by their nature, they were, I should not say because of guilt, but by the nature, they get away from the main idea, main practice, main purpose. It's their nature is so, and man is a human being is created so. And then to remind of the things, a prophet would come, an avatar would emerge, or a guru would come and try to bring back to that position. This is human history. And sometimes this task was done by philosophers, by different ideologues who were truly sincere. And that's today what collectively today now the scholars have to do. And institutions have to do, academics has to do, universities have to do. They have to remind that probably you are moving away from the basic purpose of your faith, and there is a need to see that what was the basic purpose, and at the same time, you cannot have everybody having a like faith, having all similarities. No, there can be equitability, and equitability of purpose, equitability of action, and then likeness of approach there can be, and still you are standing on your own pedestal. It's possible. So that's how this conference of Institute of Objective Studies and Guru Gobind Singh Department of Religious Studies of Punjabi University, they were trying to attain. That can we remind to the thought leaders of the world today that you have to play that prophetic role, that role of avatar, that you will remind to the people of faith, people of religion, people of conscience, that get back to the main purpose. And main purpose is that this faith is to promote human dignity, promote this respect for humanity, respect for another life, respect for others' liberty, respect for others' thought, and respect for others' practices. And that's why we find that our chairman in this Dr. Muhammad Manzoor Alam, he always quotes the provision, the verse from the Quran, Walakat karamna bani Adam. God has given, God says, I have given respect to the human being. So when it's that, I don't think that if anybody believes in a separate God and he will tell him that you don't give respect to the human being. So the question is that when every God, small or with the big G or small g, is talking of giving respect to the human being, then give respect to the human being. Or then you say that somebody's God has said, don't give respect to the human being. And that respect cannot have exceptions. We cannot say that when we have under international instruments of human rights, the right to life, the right to self-determination, life, this right to freedoms, right to conscience, right to family, right to have education. In the same way, we find here also that dignity includes all these things. We cannot say we are giving dignity to someone and denying him the freedom of education. And we are denying him the freedom of expression. We may disagree with him, and then at the same time, I think if that shift takes place in thinking of human beings, then definitely we can find really a better world. And as I had started with that Baba Farid's quote, that he said, I thought that probably I'm the only person who suffered. But when I got to the top of my house and looked around, I found every house was on fire. So the question is that this fire has to be blown out. It has to be extinguished in every house. And coolness and calmness has to be created with vigor for advancement of love for human rights. Because I think a religion will lose its credibility if it does not go with human rights. That's how I would like to say that this has been a very beneficial and profiting academically and socially and in every sense as a great conference. And the initiators of it, Professor Hamidullah Marazi, um, he is a renowned kind of person now in East and West. He is connecting with various universities for this purpose. And at home, we are having Professor Dr. Muhammad Habibullah. I think he is an oasis in the Punjab. We have to look to him that he is the Wallar Lake of Kashmir, and he is the Anna Sagar of Ajmer, and he is the Amrit Sar of Harminder Sahib, and he has all these waters he has, I believe, taken, and he has understood them, and he is carrying them forward. And maybe of that well in Kedarnath of Odisha, I think he has not left that as well, and might be something from Indian Ocean and Arabic Ocean. He has drink those waters, and I believe that he can play a good role. And iOS itself is a small world, but its vision is great. It's with objectivity, as I had told the Vice Chancellor Saab, its name is because we want that truth is to be projected. We want to see things objectively. That's why the name is given. It's carrying a simple name, Institute of Objective Studies. So institute is not colored. It's quite transparent. It does not. Anybody comes and he speaks there. He gives his research, his findings, and even prime ministers have attended its programs. Foreign dignitaries, they have attended, and they were quite impressed by these things, by the statistics and other works of the Institute of Objective Studies. We are blessed to have it, and we have a very good team with it, and it is open to everybody. It's, for lectures, other things. And I am more advantaged at the moment that we have a lawman as the registrar of the university. And earlier, Professor Nijar was also, we met yesterday, and today's his candidate's viva was there. I was not the examiner, I just visited for the lecture. And then we have one very good person from Sufi tradition and history, which is very important, because everything can be ruined, God forbid, by writing a bad history. So historians can shape the future by writing in such a way, by interpreting the things in a very positivistic way. So if you take, please, she did not consult Professor Vani at this thing. That better you send your own son to exile, he will become a god. And you are sending other son to exile, he will become a god. She would have definitely opted, instead of being the king, she would have opted for the god. So the question is, as many of the then Professor Vyathan of this Chanakya Law University, he said openly that Professor Vani understands our things more than we understand them. So I think we need to reinterpret. It's the question of not only this, it's the question of reinterpreting the things in any religion. Maybe some people have created one version of it and people are going along with that. But you look back and try to see. I can say that Ramji could have said that to the father, who are you to decide on my behalf? You have taken a vow, let you do it. But we find that, he did have the heart and he did have the mind, that he did not say anything at that time. And then along with his wife could have said, no, why should I accompany you? His brothers could have said, why are you putting us in that difficulty? The question is, how will you explain all this? I think we'll find there is a lot which can help in reshaping the dialogue and this interaction between the religions. In the same way, we have many things to see in Islamic tradition, Muslim. When I read need to say that thing, he got. If he had confined to and once I went to this, many times I went to that this petroleum university of petroleum and energy studies. And one day I had speak in the morning. After dinner, I thought, let me see. Also, I am always speaking extempore. Let me sit today for 1, 2, 3 words at least 3 words. But in the drawer I sit on the table, I just draw it, and there was a copy of Gita. And fortunately, it had English, trying to go away from that. And that shall not take my faith away as well. It will remain there, but it has some wisdom, it has some sagacity. And so other books, and that's how we have to see the things in a different context, which is purposive. And that's how I think I should not then prolong more and more, though I'm not feeling any hunger. But at least I should not impose my this inertia from that point of view as regards eating upon everybody. So I think we should have some more occasions, as Professor Saab, Jamaluddin Saab was saying. And then Kaushik ji will definitely manage all that. So let us see, let us try to create a better world, at least better thought. So with these words, I'm grateful to everybody who connected me, and especially Janab Ataur Rahman Saab by compulsion. I am here by under pressure. I was not ready to come. So because of that pressure of this, as you have of guru on disciple, of peer on this, I'm under that pressure. I'm here. But it was great that we came here. And thank you so much. God bless you. It's
Thank you. After the presidential remarks, I now request Professor Kaushik Ji, Honorable Registrar of this university, to present a vote of thanks. Professor Kaushik.
Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Arvind, Professor Akhtarul Baise, former President Maulana Azad University, Jodhpur, Rajasthan, Dr. Harminder Singh Bedi, Chancellor Central University, Himachal Pradesh, Professor Hamidullah Amrazi, Professor M. Afzal Wani. I can recall my days with Professor Wani about 20 years back, when I used to go to there for a refresher course in Indian Law Institute. And Professor Wani was coordinator, director of that courses at that time. So very nice to meet Professor Wani, and thankful to Professor Hamid for doing this, so we could meet here. Dr. Firoz Muhammad, Professor Sayyid Jamaluddin, Dr. Amarjeet Singh, Professor B.R. Sandhu, all faculty members, professors, colleagues, and students. So today's seminar on the issue of inter-religious understandings, its implications for human rights. Much has been said about it. I should not waste much time, but there are a few basics of all the religions: truth, humanity, tolerance, universal brotherhood. If you look at the human rights, on the other hand, those are rights of human beings. So all these are in commonality, as far as common thing is there when we talk about the basic teachings of every religion. On the other hand, we talk about the human rights also. But it is on the other hand when we talk about the lawmakers, lawmakers have their own agendas and they just disturb all the things. Now, need of the hour is to have the understanding of all the religions and implement those, execute them, and bring them in your own life. That would be the best option, and keeping in view the human rights, because human rights are rights of human being, and those are already there in each and every human being. As Professor Vani was talking about liberty, life, if you respect these four pillars, especially tolerance, universality, universal brotherhood, humanity, truth, which is in all the religions, I think human rights will be protected. And the common thing which can be said about all the human rights is violations. What is common everywhere about human rights and where the consensus reaches about human rights is the violation of human rights universally. So universally, what has been seen is the violation of human rights, not the observation of the human rights. This is much has already been said, so I've been asked to have a vote of thanks, so I will switch over to that job only. Now, various scholars from all parts of India and abroad have joined this two-day national conference for blended mode. I would like to thank the chairpersons and the moderators of all sessions, especially Professor Muhammad Ruslam, Muhammad Noor, Malay University, Malaysia, Professor Ishrat Alam, Department of History, Aligarh, Muslim University, Aligarh, Professor D.A. Gangadhar, Professor and former head, Department of Philosophy and Religion, BHU, Varanasi, Dr. Firoz Muhammad, Executive Director, Liberal Arts, Humanities and Creative Practices, Chandigarh University, for presiding over the technical session, and all the moderators of these sessions for conducting the sessions. The sessions were enlightening and had spread the message of humanity and harmony. The peace may prevail with such sessions. These types of sessions should be frequently held, as religion and humanity are the basis of life, and one must adhere with these principles for a harmonically and peaceful social structure to exist. This is what I will ask to speak. I have already spoken something about the basics. On behalf of Punjab University and Department of Religious Studies, I express my heartfelt thanks to all the respected representatives who have blessed us with their presence, and all the paper presenters who had enriched us all with their knowledge and research. I would like to thank the organizing team, teachers and staff members from IOS and Punjab University. Adding to this, I would like also to thank digital team, especially to organize such a meet on both offline and online platform. Finally, I once again thank the dignitaries, respected representatives and officials of participating colleges and universities. Thanks again for making this two-day national seminar a success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. मुलाकात तो हो गई कहीं ना कहीं, हाँ?
बहुत दिनों बाद मिले हैं। बहुत अच्छा लगा।
हाँ नहीं, वो तो मेरा ये था, अगर सोर्स पर्सन नहीं आता, अब एक आदमी का विदाउट प्रिपरेशन 2 घंटे खुद लेना क्लास, तो उसमें ये होता था कुछ ज्यादा ही वो
We take leave.
हाँ ठीक है,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
नंबर तो वही होगा।
हाँ नंबर सेम है
मेरे पास है, वैसे मैं देख लूँगा।
ये आपका मोबाइल
अभी बंदा रजिस्टर ऑफिस से आया साइन करवाया, अभी वो निकला थोड़ी देर।
अच्छा, इसका रजिस्ट्रार यूनिवर्सिटी तो रजिस्ट्रार ही आपका नंबर क्या है?
इसकी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी।
आपका ये क्या है?
98146 क्लासेस वगैरह मैं ऐसे ही ले रहा हूँ।